It's the Mixed Martial Arts Hour with
Mixed Martial Arts Hour is back in your life on this Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. Hello again, everyone. Nope, not inside our New York City studio, but certainly there in spirit. I'm over here. Yes, right over here in La Belle Province. Beautiful Montreal, Quebec, Canada. I am back home for a quick 1.5 to 2 day stopover before I head off to Orlando for the big Jake Paul, Andre August fight on Friday night on DAZN pay-per-view. It's great to be here with all of you. I'm back in Montreal doing the show here. We were supposed to do the show here twice in April. We did it once, but then there was a power failure, if you recall, and then we had to go somewhere else. It was a whole thing, but it's amazing that we're able to do the show from anywhere. I'm here in Montreal. The whole crew, let's say hello to the crew. They're all in New York City, workhorses that they are. There they are. They would never miss a day. CGC there, see Crypto, Andy, Mysterious Hand or two. Mysterious and Corporate Alex are they're very shy with the camera time, but they're all there. The gang's all here. And I have to say, I'm coming at you all in a very sort of nostalgic, a very sort of feel-good mood. I just came back from speaking to my high school alma mater, Herzliya High School here in Montreal. I spoke to Sec 4 and 5. That's what they call grade 10 and 11 here. Secondary 4, Secondary 5. Just spoke to them for the first time at their new building, and it was an incredible experience. And I met a lot of big MMA fans. Who would have thunk it? I'm being honest, a lot of big Jake Paul, Logan Paul, KSI, and wouldn't you know it, Dylan Dennis fans. A lot of questions about Dylan Dennis. He has broken through. But it was a great experience. I love doing those things, and it was really great to talk to the kids and talk to them a bit about my journey and my life. And when I was sitting in 9th grade in their shoes, reading Sports Illustrated, seeing that Syracuse University is the top spot for sports broadcasters. I mean, the dream started when I was sitting exactly in their chairs, not in those precise chairs, but you get the point. And so I was just trying to instill in them that they can dream big, that they could go out there, that there's a big world out there, that they should shoot for the stars. So it was a lovely experience. And then later today, I'm doing something that I'm really excited about, but I can't talk about it just yet. You'll find out about that very soon. As always, my friends, let's get into things here. I do want to let you know that we are presented by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code THEMMA Hour, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details. Also, want to let you know that support for this show comes from Cash App. Cash App has the tools you need to make saving easier. Whether you're saving for your next vacation, a new car, maybe you're going to pony up for some good seats for your next event. Reaching your goals, whatever they may be, is faster with Cash App's roundups and offers. That means even when you're not thinking about it, your money in Cash App is building. That's money, that's Cash App. Download Cash App from the App Store or Google Play Store to start saving today. So obviously, guys, we are on the road to UFC 296, the final UFC pay-per-view of the year. What a year it has been. The final UFC event of the year as well. Sometimes there's the pay-per-view and then there's a fight night. I like ending it with the big pay-per-view. And so the final fight of 2023 is going to be, as far as the UFC is concerned, there's a Ryzen event on December 31st. As far as the UFC is concerned, it is going to be Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington for the welterweight title. And this fight, it feels like, is building up steam. They're going to meet with the media today. All the main card stars, press conference tomorrow. They're having a seasonal press conference as well, which is fun for the first quarter of 2024. Perhaps we get an announcement about 300. Wouldn't that be nice? So stay tuned for all of that. It's going to be a fun ride. And of course, a lot of the discussion today will be about 296, but about some other stuff as well. So let's get into it. Back into the show. Speaking of other stuff going on in Las Vegas, it's a fun week in Las Vegas, by the way. If you're traveling, to come watch the great UFC 296 card, may I also suggest that there's the World MMA Awards tomorrow in Las Vegas. Unfortunately, I will be unable to attend because I'm going to Orlando for the Jake Paul fight, but hoping that this show wins its award, that MMA Fighting wins its award, and who knows, maybe even I'll win. So thank you to everyone who voted for us. Friday, there's a karate combat event, KC 43, Karate Combat 43. It's taking place in Las Vegas at the World Market Expo Center. And it's headlined by, get this has flown under the radar if you ask me, Anthony Showtime Pettis and Benson Henderson, meeting for the third time. They met almost 13 years ago at WEC 53. Then they met 3 years later in the UFC. Both of those fights won by Pettis. Of course, the first time Pettis with the Showtime kick, the second time with the armbar in Milwaukee. Would have seen that was. They meet now for the third time in Karate Combat, 170-pound fight, 5 rounds. Trips and throws are okay. No takedowns, 4-ounce gloves. Going to be fun. Sam Alvey on the card as well. Anyway, I say all this to let you know that both Benson Henderson and Anthony Pettis are going to join us at the exact same time at 4 o'clock in the same room, an old school face-to-face. I'll be here. They'll be in Las Vegas. The two frenemies will be together on the program. I'm looking forward to that very much. By the way, how's our connection doing, Frank? We looking good? We feeling good?
Solid.
We sounding good? Solid as a rock?
10 out of 10.
Man. Last time I asked you if we were solid, you were like, yeah, you're okay. I'm happy to hear that we're doing
that was a while ago.
Yeah. Well, okay, so that's on Friday, Karate Combat. And that's at 1 o'clock. We'll have them, 1 PT for Eastern. Prior to that, we're going to have Dave Lovell, who's the head coach for Leon Edwards. Everyone knows Dave at this point. Head man over at Renegade. Renegade's been in the news as of late, right? But you know him from Don't Let Him Bully You, Son. I rewatched that clip, by the way, the second round, third round, fourth round mashup. Oh, my God. Second Kamaru Usman fight, Utah, August of 22. It's one of the greatest inspirational MMA video clips moments of all time. So Dave is going to stop by to talk about the Leon Edwards Colby Covington fight. 3 o'clock, we'll get the picks from the boys. Talk a little more about 296. The man who will be challenging for the flyweight title at UFC 296 this weekend in the co-main event against the relatively new champion, Alexandre Pantoja. Brandon Royval is going to stop by at 2:30. So we'll talk to him from Las Vegas. He's the man going for that flyweight belt, 125-pound belt on Saturday. Khalil Rountree, who we spoke about a lot on Monday, who had the big win over Anthony Smith. He'll join us at 2 o'clock, talk about where he goes from here. I suspect he's going to have a big 2024, and we're going to try to get to the bottom of this Alex Pereira fight. And Merab Dvalishvili, who you may have found out yesterday, officially announced by the UFC, going up against Henry Cejudo in the co-main event of UFC 298, February 17th, Anaheim, California. That's a solid 2-pack of fights. Alex Volkanovski, Ilya Topuria, Cejudo, Merab, 2 Georgian-born fighters. I mean, the biggest night in the history of Georgian MMA. That's going to be a great scene. Anaheim, February 17th. We'll talk to Merab at 1:40. But as we like to do on Wednesdays, my friends, we like to shoot on Wednesdays. We like to answer your questions. And I have to say, I took a gander at the questions last night. I love these questions. This might be the greatest collection of questions we've ever had. So no pressure, Frank. Time now for everyone's favorite segment of the week.
It's time for a good old-fashioned Q&A, MMA fans.
Frank, did you see the one guy who posted the mashup of the DC and Helwani holiday shoutouts?
Live from the Box Studios in beautiful New York City.
Okay, now I'm starting to question if you actually look at the questions. There's one guy deep into the questions posted, he said, Frank, this isn't for Ariel to read on the air, but this is for you and the guys who may not have watched DC and Helwani back in the day. This is a mashup of all the holiday shoutouts, the random holiday shoutouts. There was like 3 views on this video. I couldn't believe this guy had, I think, every single one. It was like a 10-minute clip. It was amazing. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, go to the Substack page, go into the comments, and search for it there, because whoever this gentleman is, thank you for doing that. It warmed my heart. I sent it to DC as well. It was a nice little homage to the show. You really didn't see it, Frank, huh? I mean, it was right there.
It back up now.
It was there. I said, don't show this area.
Any chance you get a different list than me?
No.
No.
Let's start off with Trevor North, Lord Ariel and crew. Question for you all. When watching, covering, and discussing fights, which do you prefer between a long, drawn-out Fight of the Year candidate, where the fight could be scored either way by decision, or a highlight reel knockout that will compete for Knockout of the Year at the end of the year award ceremony? Ariel, which one do you prefer? Oh, okay. So he's saying, which do you prefer between... I never sit down and say, oh, I hope this one goes the distance. I hope this one is, a 10-second knockout. As long as it's quality, it's quality. Quality could come in many different ways. It could be a great submission. It could be an early knockout. It could be a long, drawn-out affair. It doesn't really matter to me. He asked, Ariel, which one do you prefer interviewing, between the winner of a razor-close war versus interviewing a fighter that performs a KO of the Year candidate? Again, it doesn't really matter. It more depends on the personality of the person. I'll tell you, I'm always interested in when the loser comes on, because that's a different perspective. They're not riding the high, and you're always kind of curious as to how they deal with it. So those actually interest me probably the most. But as long as it's a great fight and it's a great personality, it doesn't really matter. He continues, New York Rick, which highlights gain more social media interaction? I'm assuming you're just going to say the same thing, right? It doesn't really matter. It depends on how big the fight is and the personalities and whatnot, right?
Well, no, I would say definitely the highlight reel KO, right? It's hard to encapsulate on social media a back and forth 5-round war. You're going to get more cracks at it, potentially, depending on what the exchanges are. But social media is meant for those kind of digestible knockout, submission, moment type highlights. So I would say those are actually definitely the way for social media, just because of the thing of the platform. But it kind of speaks to what you're talking about. A story can be told in 10 seconds, or it could be told in 5 hours. Like a good story is a good story. So whatever the story is of the fight, if it's a really quick KO and that propels somebody forward into something even greater, then that's Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo. The impact of that 13-second KO, or 12-second, according to Conor, is way bigger than like some of the best back and forth wars. Now, are those going to be more significant than other like flash KOs? Yeah, probably. So it really just depends on what the story is of the fight. But for social, it's definitely those quick ones.
We were testing the show before, and I was telling Fran, I'm bringing the fourth wall here because there's no other way to communicate. That was saying that the audio was tinny and whatnot. In the midst of New York Rick's answers, something just like clicked and it completely changed for the better. I don't know if you did something, but thank you to
cleared
whomever.
Your ears a little bit, or
yeah, it was probably that.
It was me. I just hit the button, and we're good.
That's
now.
all we needed. GC, as a gambling man, which kind of fight gets your blood pumping when you have stakes in the fight?
What kind of fight? Like, are we just talking about like a back and forth war? Or are we talking about like a specific type of bet here?
Well,
championship bouts.
Very possible you didn't listen to the question, and that's fine. I mean, you don't usually get tagged in this early. By the way, thank you for the Chanukiah. That's very kind of you.
Great question.
Nice.
Lights correct here?
Oh, yeah. What are we at? 7?
Yeah, I believe so.
Well, 7 would be tonight, so technically we haven't lit them yet, so it should be 6.
Here, let me go ahead and put that one candle out then.
That'd be.
No, now we're blinking. Now we're going on air. There we go.
Let's see. 1, 2. Yep.
Right there?
Yep. Nailed it. Tonight,
Flips?
sundown. By the end of the
or
it should be. We start with the right, and then we move our way back.
All right. So this is the one.
Yep, that's 1,000% it. And
right.
By the end of the show, when sun comes down,
nailed it.
sure
Yeah. All right.
prayers.
So around 4:00, when I'm doing the bets, we'll have we'll light the 7th.
Yeah.
That'll be a good moment.
Basically, he's asking when you have money at stake, what do you prefer, a long drawn out fight?
Oh,
or a
okay.
quick
All
fight?
right. So I thought this was a whole new question. I'm sorry.
No. I'm assuming you just want the fight to be over, right?
Yes.
Like 10
I want the
seconds.
fight to be over, and I
Yes.
want my guy to win as fast as possible. I mean, it's fun when when it's long and drawn out and you win. I mean, that's a really fun thing to go through. But yeah, I mean, if I could choose, yeah, I'd rather watch my guy win in 5 seconds than go all 25.
And then Frank, as a fan of the sport, with no horse in the race, what do you prefer?
I also like the quick finishes. They're fun. You can relive them over and over again. But there is a thing about getting your heart rate up while you're watching a fight go the distance, and you're curious how it's going to end. So,
Yeah.
But if I had to choose, go with the highlight.
There's all kinds of great fights, right? There's Robbie Lawler versus Carlos Condit. There's Connor knocking out Aldo. By the way, 8 years ago yesterday, and everything in between. Pettis and Bendo. The first fight was incredible. It was 25 minutes. The second fight was relatively short and also a great fight. Although the first fight is probably remembered more, especially for the Showtime kick.
Glover versus Yuri is one that was like my favorite fight ever, and that was very drawn out, but it was incredible.
Yeah,
and it ended in a finish. That was like as good as it gets for me.
Yeah, especially because the finish was so unexpected, right? Like, who would have thought?
And late,
Yuri
so late,
submits.
last minute. Yeah, the submission. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's the one that you posted the picture. It was like, imagine telling someone that this fight ends in a Yuri submission because like 10 seconds later, right?
Oh yeah, no, one? It was the two photos and it was like 23 seconds apart, and it was like Glover on top of Yuri, and then the next one is him walking away from Glover on the ground, finished, and now he's champion. Crazy.
Carlos, hello Ariel. 2 questions, if I may. If Leon Edwards beats Colby Covington, what do you think is next for him? That is a great question. I hope he's fighting back home in the UK. There's some talk of Manchester and other places like that. As far as who could be next, I feel like it should be Bilal, right? I mean, that's the fight. There's a story there. There's a backstory there. You know, Shavkat, if he wins spectacularly, there's going to be some momentum. But I feel like the fight should be him versus Bilal. Their first fight ended in an eye poke. Bilal has not lost since. It just feels like that's the one. And you know, I get why some people cut the line. I get why some people get title shots before others, but there has to be some sort of meritocracy. Otherwise, this whole thing crumbles. And even though he may not be the most popular one, and because Khamzat has left 185, and obviously 170, now he's at 185, and he's also injured. There's really no other guy knocking on the door. Shavkat isn't at the point of a Khamzat.
Is there a world where Ian Garrett gets it with the most spectacular performance of his career?
It would be a bigger fight, especially in the UK. There's no doubt about it. But I don't feel like you need to rush it. It would be a bigger fight. I mean, the Ian Gary story continues to get bigger and bigger, and you know, I'm very curious to see how they receive him. If he smokes Vicente Luque, Leon's in a great spot, by the way, because he's got like these built-in storylines with 2 guys, not to mention everyone else. But I don't think they do it next. I think they give him one more, maybe one in Ireland, one more big fight, and then they have him fight. Don't you agree? Doesn't that feel like the right thing to do?
It feels like the right thing to do, and also timing wise, like Bilal's been sitting. You know, it's time to get him a fight.
Yeah,
and he deserves it.
He continues, since Christmas is coming up, I was wondering how it works around your household. Do your kids have a wish list, or do you just surprise them with gifts you think on your own? Any gifts in mind for them this year? Greetings from Portugal. Well, you may not know this, Carlos, but I am in fact Jewish. And so while I love Christmas, and I grew up loving Christmas, in fact, I had the Time Life Treasury of Christmas 4 or 5 CD set. And I used to listen to that thing in July when I would drive around town. Love Christmas movies, love the lights, love the spirit, love the significance, love what it represents, love that it brings people together, families together, love the tradition, love everything about it. But because I'm Jewish, I don't celebrate Christmas. We celebrate Hanukkah, as we just talked about. And as the great Adam Sandler once said, instead of, you know, 1 day of presents, we get 8 crazy nights. Now, our family doesn't do the 8 nights of presents, 2 or 3, and we've already given them the presents, and we gave them the PS5, which was a huge hit for the kids. My daughter got this American Dream doll, got them some games, got them a couple hoodies from Nike, and then that was pretty much it. I heard them say this was the best year of presents yet, so I feel pretty happy about it all. But no, I've always dreamed of having the come down the stairs, presents under the tree thing that I see on TV all the time, but we don't celebrate. Even though I feel like we kind of should celebrate Christmas. Jesus was a Jew, as we all know, but that's a complicated one. King of the Jews.
Great questions, by the way.
Oh, fantastic. Feliz Navidad as well. Floyd. Hi, Ariel, Frankie, GC, and Rick. Floyd from Montreal here. Hello, Floyd. We're in the same town. With the latest Expos from Tom Brady. Oh, my God. It was all a dream. Regarding his career with the Expos in an alternate universe, how would you rate on a scale of 1 to 10 the possibility to see a baseball team in Montreal in the next 10 years? Hoping to cross paths here since I'm kind of your next-door neighbor. Happy Hanukkah to you and the family. GC, you saw this clip?
Oh, saw it, watched it 8-10 times over. I mean, it was a masterpiece. It was so well made.
I think I've watched it, I don't even know how many times. And every time I watch it, I see these other little Easter eggs. The music, the bar, the clippings. You see Vladimir Guerrero and Larry Walker and Pedro Martinez sitting in the back there. And yesterday was like some Tom Brady day, I guess because 12-12. Michael Rubin and Tom Brady, in some bizarro universe, are the only ones keeping the memory of the Expos alive. I don't really know why. I'm so thankful that Tom Brady got drafted by the Expos, because had he been drafted by the Rays or something like that, I don't know, none of this would have happened. And people are talking about the Expos on a random December day in 2023. A part of me feels sad about it, but also amazing about it. I'm looking at this and they're talking about him getting 7 World Series rings and what could have been. And then they have the thing where Eli shows up and he does the quote retweet wearing the Giants jersey and the two. They are brilliant. That was marketing at its finest. Marketing for, I think, one card that they're coming out with that will be signed by him, a Topps card. It was all for Topps. Rick, did you see this clip?
I did. I'm a big fan of what Fanatics has been doing in terms of, distribution and stuff. So I kind of try to keep my eye on a lot of stuff going on.
The creativity was next level. My only question is, did he go to the Rays to win his 7th ring?
Oh, wow.
I wish they had touched on that. The fact that they talk about the comeback against Atlanta, the Giants fits perfectly.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That would have been great, yes. Can I be honest with you? I didn't even put the Atlanta thing together.
Oh, yeah. They did a good
job. Oh, don't worry. GC did. GC will never forget.
Yep. 684 home runs. How many touchdowns he had.
Oh, wow. That's great. See, you went deeper than me. I was looking for the Montreal Easter eggs.
Wow.
The music in the background. When the Expos would score, they would sing Valderie, Valdera. So the music in the bar is like dun 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 dun. It was great. They must have had Montreal people involved in that, because there's too many details there that only a Montreal sports fan would know and appreciate. It was brilliant.
It really was.
God, it was great.
The creativity, the execution, and then actually having Brady in the commercial just made it that much better.
Right, and Vladdy and Walker and Pedro. Anyway, the question is 1 to 10. I don't know, man. Is there a world where Rubin and Brady just love Montreal so much that they're going to help bring the Expos back? Is there a world where I feel like Brady keeps doing this? He keeps playing on the Montreal thing, right?
It would be amazing.
The only thing I'll say on the Rubin part is obviously now he's removed himself from sports ownership, right? That is something he's already kind of thought about as Fanatics continues to evolve. So I doubt he's that front facing of it, if at all. But I could see a world where enough powerful people team up, including Tom Brady, that it happens. It seems like the appetite is there, especially with clearly, to your point, right? They involved people who know what this is and they care about it. If you can get fans to see that you care about it, then I think they'll be all behind it. Not dissimilar to what we've seen with the football clubs. You just need the passionate kind of front man, and I think you can make it happen.
Oh my God. There was a push a couple of years ago for Steven Bronfman, who's the son of Charles Bronfman, who was the original owner of the Expos, to bring them over. And then they had this whole thing where they wanted to do a split season with Tampa, which I thought was a ridiculous idea. It would never work. Which player would be okay with that? No player would be okay with that. Who wants to split their time anywhere? If you're a pro ball player and no one else has to do it, but that would be incredible. I'm gonna be positive, Floyd, and I'm gonna say we're at a solid 8 here. Okay. People don't realize there's a rich history of baseball in Montreal, dating back to the Montreal Royals and Delormier Downs, the AAA ball club of the Brooklyn Dodgers, where the likes of Roy Campanella and Tommy Lasorda and Pee Wee Reese and some young man named Jackie Robinson once played for. And Jackie in his later years said that the one city that truly accepted him as one of their own was Montreal. He and his wife, Rachel, adored Montreal. So I'm going to hold out hope that Montreal gets a team. That would be incredible.
Bring back the Expos and bring back the Hartford Whalers. Need them back in the game.
What was the song? Dun, 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 na, 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 na. Oh, man. How does the song go? Brass Bonanza. You know Brass Bonanza?
No.
Come on. You don't know the Brass Bonanza?
Was that their goal song?
That was their goal song. It was one of the greatest songs. Brass Bonanza. Rick, you know Brass Bonanza?
Never heard of it.
This is what they played when they scored goals?
Yeah,
sure enough, here it is.
It's one of the great songs in the history of hockey. Yeah.
Hartford needs a professional sports team.
That would be great. El Peruano. Volk's interview last week was inspirational. You do so well getting the best of fighters, even after a loss. What post-loss interview stands out to you above the rest? Mine was DC after getting KO'd by Jones. He kept saying he had to win enough to get back. Amazing stuff. Gracias. Yeah, that was a great one. I mean, honestly, top of the mind right here. Ben Askren after getting KO'd by Jorge Masvidal. Ben Askren came on the show on the Monday after the Masvidal KO. Like, the most embarrassing moment of his career life. He comes on, faces the music. That was a crazy episode. Remember that, Rick? Askren comes on and Masvidal coming on with the pancake syrup. And he was living large. He was in the hotel and he's like pouring he was pouring the syrup like right here in front of the camera. And it was just like dripping. But you could just feel like this guy knew that his life had just changed.
Top of the world.
That was incredible. Is he coming in the studio?
I was just going to say on Askren, that one I think really changed how people felt about him when he was willing to face the music on that the way he did. I think it really like helped him in a major way.
That clip got 2 million views, I think, in 24 hours. That was nuts. Izzy showing up after losing to Alex was incredible. Not only did he do the interview, he showed up in studio. So yeah, those are very memorable, and I always really appreciate when guys show up after big. We were just talking about this on Monday. Remember Sage Northcutt getting submitted by Brian Barberina? He showed up and faced the music on the Monday after when everyone was ripping on him. Remember that? And one that I will always say will forever impress me was the last interview that I ever did for Fox Sports in the locker room, right outside the locker room hallway, UFC 196. Conor loses to Nate Diaz, faces the music. The whole thing crumbled down. And you remember how he handled that? Showed up to the post-fight press conference in the suit, faced the music, said, "I'll be back." And he eventually returned and beat him at 202. That's when you really fall in love with those fighters. That's when you really get to see a window into their soul, who they are. It's easy to be, brash and all that when you win, but I fall in love with fighters in those moments because you see how they handle this and how they build themselves back up. It's incredibly inspiring. French Joe, hello Ariel on the team. I thoroughly enjoy your Premier League insights. Wow, guys, we found the one guy who likes our Premier League thoughts, especially the hilarious fan reactions, who cannot help but acting as the OG. Just curious, what are your current top 3 players and your top 3 football memories? Also, is there a fantasy league recap planned by GC? I recently broke into the top 200 and would love to know if you and GC are continuing to play every week. Greetings from France. Allez les bleus. I will say on the fantasy front, I did the 2 leagues. I did the draft. And I did the one where like everyone gets to pick from the same pool of players. I did the draft with my kids. Shockingly, as we approach mid-December, I'm still updating my lineup in the kids pool because I feel like that's the one where there's real skill involved. I have to find people available on the waivers. I've got to set my lineup. I have Mo Salah. No one else has Mo Salah. I have Morgan Gibbs-White. No one else has Morgan Gibbs-White. I like that. The one where everyone gets to pick from the same people, like everyone has Holland, everyone has these guys. So I've kind of fallen off the other one, but I am sticking with the draft one, which I understand isn't as popular in Europe. But here in America, that feels more popular. It's more part of the culture. GC, is there a recap and update of sorts on the draft, and are you keeping up with it?
Trying to, not very good at it. You said it doesn't take much skill. I think it actually takes more skill when you can pick, when everyone has the same players available to them. Right now, our man Corbo City, Corbin Vaughn, currently in first place with 1,025 points throughout the season. Just to give you some perspective here, I'm at 694. I am currently ranked 1,744th in our league. A lot of members in that one. And then next up, Nicholas. Can't even give this one a go. This last name a go. Enzo Ferrari is his name though. And then to finish it out in the top three, Hollandaise Sauce, but it's obviously Erling Haaland. He has 1,012 points, so it's a tight race at the top. And obviously, the winner of that we'll give him a jersey, all that. We'll give him a big celebration. It'll be great stuff.
Love that. I am locked in.
To Premier League or to your fantasy team?
No, Premier League, to answer the previous question. Huge draw on the road against Wolves on Saturday. Did I text the group and no one wrote back to me about it? Sure. Did that deter me in any way? No, absolutely not. Because I'm here, as I've said time and again. What's that?
I remember someone
Touch busy on Saturday.
Actually, I said it would be nice if Frank, who hasn't responded to the group since 1948,
September.
would respond. And lo and behold, he did not. He did not let me down. He did respond. What were you so busy doing on a Saturday? What were you so busy doing?
I have things to do. Busy man.
Stevie Cooper's back against the wall, and he freaking, he pulled it out. A lot of people think his time is done regardless. Huge.
I was gonna say, I don't know. I don't know if the draw against Wolves keeps him
on the road. Away points are virtually impossible to grab.
We needed points because all we were doing was losing. We were just getting.
What about Spurs coming home on Friday at the world famous City Ground, 3:00 kickoff? Brennan's first game back, so it's going to be very emotional. I would say my favorite player in the Premier League is Brennan Johnson, without a doubt. I love Anthony Elanga. They sing "Rhythm is a Dancer," Anthony Elanga. Love the songs. Really enjoyed him. I like Son on Spurs as well. I can name a bunch of Harry Toffolo was great. Nico Williams, what a game on Saturday. Unbelievable. Like Matt Turner, of course. Great to see him back inside the pipes, between the pipes. If I had to pick someone in the world right now that I really enjoy is Jude Bellingham. Are we friends? Like you be the judge. I don't want DM here and there, but he's just so incredible to watch. And I think he's just 20, which blows my mind. Obviously, love the Canadian guys, Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David, etc. One of my favorite memories was beating Arsenal in May. I was at the Katie Taylor-Chantel Cameron fight, and a 1-1 scores, and that was the game to keep us up last May. And calling my son Walter, and he was texting me in that we were staying up. Oh, it was great. Tears were flowing. I was legit emotional about it because it meant, as I said last year, another season of getting to watch it together. So I'm all in. Love it. I'll watch a Brentford Bournemouth game over Arizona Cardinals New York Jets game. Wow. I'm more into the random game. I'll watch a Sheffield United Burnley game over Pelicans Magic at this point. Although Magic are really fun.
Easily.
Just the games mean more.
Yeah.
What about Tommy
Ollie
DeVito?
Watkins guy.
I love Ollie Watkins. Over
there,
we have a lot of favorites.
Class.
It's complete class. I could go team by team. Trent Alexander-Walker is tremendous. All I know is that Man United are in the bin. You see this Sack franchise. I gave my
as a Manchester guy,
Friday.
it's upsetting to see.
Nah, it's fine. I gave my prediction. I said Eric Ten Hag doesn't make it past this season. In the summer, he goes. But my other favorite story right now is the Tommy DeVito story with his agent. You see this agent?
Yeah.
This guy's incredible. I can't get enough of this guy. He's not playing a character. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, I know.
Great
the outfit is like the most ridiculous outfit, and now there's like a bunch of pictures coming out of him just in like more and more Italian outfits as it goes by. And then he's kissing DeVito's dad on the cheek after he makes a good play after they win.
Cutlets.
Tommy Cutlets. It's great stuff. Just to balance out the Premier League love, I know we got a little shout out there. Last week we had a lengthy discussion, involving Stevie Cooper, obviously, for his playing while we were on the air. I got a great message on Twitter that was like, Thank God. I'd love to kiss whoever created the skip button on the lips because I can skip through your guys' Premier League discussion. I was like, great, man. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. I mean, come on.
JC, I said that in confidence. You weren't supposed to share that.
Oh, wow.
We're giving you like 9 to 10 hours, okay? Can you give us a break? Need more Frank. Multiple Ks. Much love, AJ and crew. Shout out. I will never forget the kick heard around the world. I screamed pound for pound, headshot dead for weeks. Plus the interview with Tim and him crying. Oh, Tim Simpson, that was great. This is by far the greatest sport. Do you or the crew have any other MMA moments that touched you in a similar way? I mean, golly. The first one that like really touched my soul was GSP beating Matt Hughes at UFC 56. I've said this story a bunch of times. Me being in Montreal, Champ Sports Bar, everyone explodes. I'm like, that's the sport. I need to be a part of it. No, Leon was up there, man, and reliving some of that stuff now. You know, a lot of people send me messages about, Eric and GC poo-pooing that moment last Monday.
No. We're not doing that. That's not what happened.
And I'm not going to stand for it.
We're not gonna pretend that Leon Edwards, who the UFC actively refused to give a title shot, had this huge fan base that was clamoring for him to do something. Didn't happen. Did not happen. Everything for him happened post head kick. Everything for him happened post head kick, which was
what a moment.
Truly one of the best moments in MMA history.
Oh, so good.
But yeah, I will not be besmirched. That will not hang on me.
Yeah, I'm with Rick.
Is there a moment that made you emotional?
I really am with Rick on this one.
I don't know. I was trying to think back. I'll tell you the moment that got me the most excited or like energetic or whatever, one way or another. It was Brock Mir subbing Shane Carwin. And the lone reason is I had a grip of money on Brock Lesnar. And when he won, I lost my head. I would think I watched it at a Hooters, and I maybe did 6 laps around the parking lot, dying. Absolutely dying. I could not believe that we pulled that off. Me and Brock.
Yeah. He was almost done. And then he got that arm triangle. That was one of my favorite moments because he was done. Shout out to Josh Rosenthal for letting that go. This day and age, it would have been done,
Thank you, Josh.
That was one of my favorite moments because remember all the guys, the WWE guys were in the front row, Goldberg, Paul Heyman, Stone Cold, and I got to go down the line and interview all of them afterwards. It was amazing. What about you? It probably, GC, was when Iron Turtle lost last week.
I mean, yeah, you want to talk about emotional, yeah. When Iron Turtle got robbed, when he got robbed blind by the judges over there at the Apex, that was pretty emotional. The Adesanya getting the belt back and the bow and arrows, that was pretty crazy. Not really emotional, just kind of crazy. O'Malley becoming champ, that was also crazy. More so just like the craziest moments.
DC winning the belt for the first time was pretty damn great. Yeah. And
me,
of course, I don't even. I was going to say, I don't even need to ask, Frank. You're probably going to say Jake Paul beating Nate Diaz, right?
Clearly, when I was saying Tommy, I actually meant Jake Paul beating.
I think it's the Jake Paul Andre August press conference.
That you'll hear me shouting around the world.
That happened already. Didn't that just happen?
I don't know. Did it happen? No one knows. That's the thing about it.
Hey. I'm going to be there, guys. Hey, by the way, what a broadcast crew they've assembled. I had no idea. I knew that Canobio and Wade and Christian were there. T. Wood in the house.
Shout out.
Chantel Cameron in the house.
Shout out.
That's going to be fun. Looking forward to it. That's going to be great. Also added by Frank here is the word meow under this comment. So, do it again. Meow. Yes. Brandon, hey, Ariel, I just heard your friend Peter Rosenberg shout you out on the radio. And I'm happy to report that he and his co-host, Don LaGreca, oh my God, 2 New York legends, radio legends, multimedia legends, had nothing but great things to say about you. Well, that's very nice to hear. I like them both very much and respect them. ESPN Radio New York rarely, if ever, mentions MMA, but I'm not surprised. Old Helwani got a shout out. Thank you and the crew for everything. Keep up the excellent work. Oh, thank you for that, Brandon. I appreciate it. Let's squeeze in one more. Dustin H. Hello, Ariel, GC, New York Rick, and Imperious Frank. This question is for you, Ariel. I've heard you mention that you love Louis Theroux and would really like to meet him. Golly, would I like to. These days, by the way, at night, I'm just watching old Louis Theroux clips the AJ one is just amazing. I hope you guys have had a chance to watch it. It is amazing. If you did get to meet him, what would you want to ask him? Do you have any favorite documentaries of his? Yes, I love the one when he tried to become a pro wrestler and he went to the WCW power plant in Georgia with Sarge back in the day. There's also a great one when he lived at a brothel in Las Vegas way back in the day as well. I don't know what I would want. I just want to tell him I respect him and admire him and look up to him and appreciate him. I would love to interview him, but like just upon meeting him, I would just say those things. What do you think makes him such a good journalist, documentary maker? He is inquisitive. He is a little bit quirky. He asks really good, concise questions. He's just a fun guy to watch interact with people. Like, again, like his interaction with AJ was great. And he was asking AJ things about his personal life that some people don't have the balls to ask or the courage. And he does it in a very disarming, inquisitive, innocent way. It's a beautiful style. In fact, if I could share this, I was at the HBO Real Sports rap party 2 weeks ago. The show is coming and going, and I saw someone there who was an editor, and he came up to me. He's British, and he told me that he edited the bird watching story that I did for HBO Real Sports, and I was like, "That's incredible." And he said, I don't know if you know who this guy is, but I turned to the producer when I was editing your stuff and watching your stuff for all those hours, and said to them, "This guy reminds me of Louis Theroux." And I was like, "Get out of here. There's no way." I'm awesome. Telling you, man. He said, "You're the first American broadcaster that I've ever met that has a similar style to Louis Theroux, who he said I think is the best." And I told him that was giving me chills and that it was the best compliment that anyone could ever give me. Louis Theroux, Howard Cosell, Howard Stern, Walter Cronkite. I mean, that might be the Mount Rushmore right there for me. So yeah. I think he's incredible. Finally, have you heard of another British investigative journalist called John Ronson? I'm sure you would love him too. I haven't, and I will look him up. Thank you. Thanks for all the content. P.S. Do you not think that New York Rick sounds a lot like Jesse Eisenberg? Peace. That's the geezer from The Social Network, right?
Yep, that's the one.
That is the one. Oh yeah.
Zombieland,
Rick had to drop off. Yes. Does he sound like him?
I think so.
All right. Yeah, I could see it. We'll put a pin on the questions here. There's still several left, and I look forward to getting to them. And we'll get to them in about an hour's time. For now, though, let us get to our first guest of the day. We found out yesterday officially that he'll be competing again February 17th in Anaheim, co-main event of UFC 298. He, in my opinion, should be, if all goes well, the next man for the bantamweight title. He is the pride of Georgia and New York and Las Vegas as well. He is the great Merab Dvalishvili. Kind enough to join us. Hello, Merab. How are you?
Hello. I'm great. Thank you for representation.
Of course, always. I like your flag back there, the mix of Georgia and USA. That's very nice.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes. Merab, this is an exciting
As
fight.
you say, I'm a proud of Georgia, proud American, and yes.
I love it. Merab, the last time we spoke, it was still unclear who Sean would fight in his first title defense, who you would fight, why not. Ultimately, are you okay with all this? We found out a few weeks ago it's Sean versus Cheeto, and now we find out it's you versus Henry. Are you okay with the way the cookie crumbled, the way everything shaked out, or are you still annoyed that you didn't get a title shot next?
Yeah, in my mind, I was ready for title fight, but this is what it is. I understand it's a business, and sometimes like this thing happens. Now I move on already because now I'm fighting Henry Cejudo and O'Malley fighting number 6 guy, somebody, and guy who's 1-1, But that's how business goes, and I understand everything. But a little bit still not knowing. I guess I'm still talking about it.
Yeah, well, I'm asking you about it, so it's not your fault. Can I ask, have you been told you win this fight, you're getting a title shot?
No, they don't tell me like this, but now I'm gonna be ready again for a title fight because that's all I wanna do now. Like nothing left, I'm winning fights, and now my goal is fight for the title and win for the title. That's my only goal right now. Like everybody knows, I have a 9-fight win streak, and I beat 2 former champions. I'm fighting now one of the greatest fighter, Henry Cejudo, Olympic champion, 2 division champion. And if I beat Henry Cejudo, I don't understand why they should not give me title. So I'm pretty sure that now this time they will give me title fight after this.
You can't accept anything else, right? Like that will be 10 in a row with wins over Henry, with wins over Piotr Jan, Jose Aldo, Marlon Moraes, John Dodson, just to name a few. Brad Katona, who's had a nice little comeback here. You win this fight, there can't be anything else, right?
Exactly, I can't be, because how I'm gonna go back and keep fighting guys from the behind. I wanna fight guys there in front of me, and who I want to fight champion. That's how it goes. If you winning, you have to fight whoever is in front of you, who is champion. But if you're losing, then yeah, you have to back up a little bit. If you win, you come back again. That's how it works. That's how it is sport. The sport is, but yeah, for real, man. But exactly, nothing's guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed.
So if it wasn't a title shot, though, are you happy with Henry Cejudo being your next opponent?
Yeah, I have so much respect for Henry Cejudo, and yeah, I mean, I want to be busy. I don't want to wait too long, because I wanna keep fight, and I wanna fight against the great guys. I fight Jose Aldo. My mentality was with Jose Aldo, if he beats me, God bless him. He's gonna fight title. But with Henry Cejudo, I'm not this much kind this time. I wanna beat him, and I want to fight title. Like I won't be too much happy if he beats me.
Of course. Do you feel like you need to stop him in order to give the UFC no other reason than to give you a title shot? Like, do you need to do something spectacular in your mind? A win over Henry Cejudo should be enough.
I think a win against Henry Cejudo will be enough, even if I win split decision. But I'm not looking for split decision. I'm looking for dominate this fight, and I'm looking for like maybe finish. But if, like I said, it's a fight. We never know. Like some fights can be like excited, very good fight, and some fights can be less actions, But everything can happen. But I think whatever win will be against Henry Cejudo, I think that's it. I have to. They have to give me.
Mm-hmm. And yesterday, I think it was, or maybe it was Monday, I saw you tweet like you haven't gotten the contract yet. Now that it's officially announced, have you gotten the contract?
Yes, they just sent me yesterday, and I don't sign yet because I wanna ask them 5-round fights, because in contract it says 3-round fights. So I wanna fight 5-round. I feel, I will never. I'm not getting tired, so I think the later rounds, I'm coming back even stronger, and yeah, more energized. So.
Do you think they'll be okay with that?
I don't know. I want to ask them, and if I hope they will be okay. And if they give us common even spa, I think 5-round fight will be good, and the number 1 contender for the title. And then I see they should give us, but let's see.
Do you know if Henry is interested in this?
I don't know.
Do you think he will be?
I don't think so. I think the 3-round fights benefits him. 5-round fights benefits me, I think.
Yeah. Wow, I love that. That would be fascinating. And what a card, by the way, for Georgia, right? Ilia Topuria in the main event, you in the co-main. When you figure that out, what do you think? What did that mean to you, and what do you think that will mean for your country?
Like this is history moment. Ilia Topuria, first Georgian fighting for the title. When I find out this news, I was so happy for Ilia. He's my brother, and all country we are proud of him. And I proud more because I know how hard he works. I know how good he is, and he deserved everything. And I love Alex Volkanovski. Like a former fighters, that my favorite fighter is George St. Pierre. But like now to the active fighters, other than my friends and my teammates. Alex Volkanovski is my favorite fighter. I love him, but now Ilia is my brother from Georgia, and now of course I'm rooting for Ilia, and I believe Ilia can win this fight. And he's that good, So, but back to your question. Yeah, this is big moment for Georgia, and of course. First, when I find out Ilia was fighting for title, I was so happy, and now I'm fighting the same card. This is, this of course it's good, but I have to win my fight, and I know Ilia will win his fight.
Yes, this time next year we can have 2 champions from Georgia if things work out, which would be incredible. Considering where you guys have come from, that would be amazing for the scene and for your country as well. Speaking of your friends, do you think Aljamain is going to move up to 145? And are you in favor of this? Do you like this idea? It sounds like this is what he is hinting at. Do you like this idea for him?
Yeah, Aljo. I think Aljo is looking for now to fight in 145, and I think he's moving up. Yeah, he's big, but he makes weight 135. But now he will be more comfortable and less stress and more strong in 145. I think, like he's saying, last 10 pounds was hard, and he was always able to make weight. I think that's good for him. He will try. And I believe he will do very well in 145. And let's go from there.
Yeah. He wants to fight Max Holloway. He's talking about those big names. But what makes it interesting now is that the path is clear for you. It seems very clear that, at least for me, you win this fight, you'll be next. Sean O'Malley reacted to the announcement of your fight. His quote on his show was the Timbo Sugar Show. He said, "That'll be a sweet little short fight. I'm excited to see those little guys. That's as close as you can get to mid. Little people fighting. It's pretty sweet because they're both so skilled and they're both so short. It'll be cute. It'll be an interesting fight." What do you make of his reaction to your fight against Henry?
He's sometimes funny. He's sometimes a little stupid, but he's okay. He's okay. Now, yeah, that would be a good fight. Not only shorts, we are short guys. So, even O'Malley himself, he's not like a giant somebody. He's skinny, tall guy. Yeah, I will. If he ever fights me, I will break him for 2 pieces. But. So, yeah, it's going to be a good fight against me and Henry because Henry, like 2 division champion, like we said, Olympic champion wrestler, and everybody know I have a record in my division, like takedown records, and I like more grappling style. And let's see, it will be interesting, how I will do against the grappler, and people are excited for this fight. It's going to be really, really good fight, and winner of us, I think we'll finally get title shot. I think we both deserve this. And yeah, O'Malley is funny, he's okay.
Do you think he beats Cheeto?
I hope so. But It's not will be easy. I think Chito can beat him again. Unfortunately, but I hope O'Malley wins this.
You hope he wins so that you can fight him. But either way, I mean, is there a part of you that hopes he wins so that you get the title shot? And do you think that if Chito wins, maybe they do the rematch or the trilogy with him? Is that why you're saying? Do you think it will delay things even more for you if Chito wins?
I mean, if Chito wins, that would be 2-0, and I guess why they need a rematch? If it's 1-1, then maybe. But actually, yeah, I don't know. But I'm focused on my fight now. Okay. I want to win this fight, and I want to fight for the title. That's it. Let's see how it. I think it will be very boring fight. Maybe Chito usually first couple rounds he's just not doing nothing, and O'Malley he was running last time with Aljo. He was running before Aljo make before Aljo tried to make action, and he was running. And maybe let's see. Maybe they both will running from each other, and let's see how it's gonna go.
You still have the jacket?
Yeah, I do have a jacket. Yes.
Okay. How's the hand, by the way?
Hey. Hands good. Okay, just more. So my hand is good.
What was that? What was that move on?
No.
You wanted to say something.
When I took his jacket, I was not gonna give him back, but in the cage, Dana White was telling me, give him back, and I give him back, in the cage because, so, and then because he was naked, and then I feel bad for poor guys. And,
okay, all right, that's very nice of you. So you said the hand is okay though, no problems?
Yeah, no, it's not 100%, of course, but I'm training, I'm fighting, I'm sparring, I'm wrestling, and I'm good. I'm able to do everything, no problem.
Okay. One last thing before I let you go. Big UFC main event this weekend. Just curious, who do you like, Leon or Colby?
Colby Covington, even he's a little annoying sometimes, and how he talks like this, I still don't understand. Either people are saying he's a nice guy, and he's not like he's a nice guy, but he's just character, and he's doing this on purpose. But every time I do interview, it's even I speak from the heart, it's still hard. How he remember all these jokes and how he gives everybody names, it's crazy. But let's go for Colby Covington. I think he's got it this time.
Okay. Well, very happy to hear that you're coming back. February 17th, UFC 298 co-main event. We'll see if it's 5 rounds. As you are requesting. Good luck with that. And of course, good luck with the fight. And Lord help us. I mean, if a 10 fight winning streak and a win over Henry Cejudo, in addition to Aldo and Jan and all these guys, doesn't get you a title shot, Lord help us, Merab, because what are we doing here? So I hope we don't get to that point. I hope we don't have to ride on your behalf. Hopefully it all works out. And you get what you deserve. So much respect and good luck, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Ariel. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
No problem. There he is, Merab Dvalishvili, the pride of Georgia, the pride of the United States, as you can see behind him. I mean, what a run he's been on, 9 in a row. And that's a great, like I said, 2-pack of fights. 9 in a row this man has won. And again, he's not fighting schlubs. He's fighting Petr Yan, he's fighting Marlon Moraes, he's fighting Jose Aldo. His last win in March against Petr Yan was as dominant and as one-sided as it gets. And usually a 9-fight winning streak gets you a title shot, but unfortunately in some divisions there's other factors at play. Credit to him, he's taking probably the toughest fight that he could possibly get, given his skill set. He's fighting the Olympic gold medalist, the 2-division champion, Henry Cejudo. That's an extremely tough fight. A guy who lost to Aljamain like that. I mean, it was that close. It was that close. That's not a striker that he could just neutralize with his wrestling, with his clinch work, stifle. It's a fascinating matchup. It's a great, great styles clash, if you will, on paper. I'm really curious to see how it plays out, and I really do think that if he wins this fight, he should be next. I can't imagine any other scenario. There are guys like Sandhagen out there and Song Yadong, and I mean, it's the best division in the UFC, in my opinion, in MMA. Patchy Mix out there in the PFL/Bellator, so it's on fire. But he should be the guy. I mean, 10 in a row. And look, there are guys like Leon. There are guys like Bilal. There are guys like Tony Ferguson who have had to take the long route to the belt. There are other guys who haven't. He has had to be one of those guys. It's somewhat unfortunate, but again, beat Cejudo 10 in a row, fait accompli. Now, our next guest is on some kind of roll as well. He has won 5 fights in a row. 4 of those fights have been via stoppage, all very spectacular. He's coming off an amazing win once again back on Saturday at the Apex over the veteran Anthony Smith. He is very much in the mix at 205 pounds. He's the guy who I said on Monday should be fighting for the belt next. I would love to see it. Let's get his thoughts on it all. He's the one and only Khalil Rountree Jr., kind enough to join us here. Great to have him back on the show. Khalil, my man, and let me get it right. Khalil, right? It's Khalil, not Khalil, right? I don't want to screw this up. Am I right with that?
If I'm being 100% like thorough, it's Khalil.
I screwed it up. Khalil, okay. That's even better for me. I could say Khalil. I could say that easy. Is it really? Yeah. Is that how you like to be called? Oh, okay. Why haven't we called you that?
It's an Arabic name that my father gave to me, and I believe that from what I've heard, people who are fluent and speak Arabic call me Khalil. So 1000%. I don't speak Arabic, but from like hearing people that's their native language say it, that's how they pronounce it. But here in America, people say Khalil or Khalil, or some of my family calls me Khalil. It's just, I guess it depends on your accent, but yeah.
Would you like to be referred to as Khalil?
It's nice to hear, it's nice to hear when it's spoken, like in Arabic. It's nice to hear, but I don't expect people who don't naturally have, like an Arabic accent to call me Khalil. I don't expect it, so I just like, as long as people are calling me, by my name, the way that it's spelled, it doesn't bug me.
Yeah. It's sort of like, everyone calls Khabib, but the KH is a it's tough for some people. Yeah. So I love that. I want to start a movement for them to refer to.
For the record, like, I'm sure that there are many names that I don't put in enough effort to, pronounce the way that it should be. So I don't want to like contradict myself, because I'm sure I've called people out of their name, there's probably proof of it on the internet. So I just it's nice to hear, and yeah.
I want to start a movement for Buffer or whomever is the cage announcer and the broadcasters to refer to you as Khalil. I think that would be pretty darn cool. Yeah. But as you say, as long as they're saying your name the way it's spelt, that's half the battle. Congrats on another spectacular win. Can I ask you off the bat, because we were kind of hypothesizing about this on Monday, and I said I would love to ask you this question because I was trying to understand maybe if there was another reason for it. Why have your last 5 fights been at the Apex? Is that your decision, or is it just the way the cookie has crumbled? Because I feel like you're such an exciting, explosive fighter. You should be fighting in front of 16,000, 18,000 people.
I mean, I think it's definitely more on the side of that's just the way the cookie has crumbled, because I was supposed to fight in Austin, and before that I was supposed to fight in Vancouver, and those fights fell through, the week before the event. And so just at least for those two specifically, I was just willing when the UFC did whatever they could to at least just create a new match or keep the match alive, So I was just willing, whether it's at the Apex or not. So it's been mostly that, just circumstantial. But I love the Apex. There haven't been any Las Vegas, like T-Mobile Arena cards or anything that have like lined up with just like the schedule and opponents and stuff. But like I said before, like Vegas is my home. So it would be nice to, like, even if I got the opportunity to fight in T-Mobile Arena, that'd be cool. But the Apex isn't a public place, so I would have more friends show up there. You know what I mean? Like I think it's just the way the cookie crumbles. But I do really enjoy fighting in Las Vegas because it's my home.
Is there something about just like the no frills atmosphere? It's very pure, which I think a lot of people associate with you. It's just sort of there's not a lot of nonsense, a lot of BS. You just go in there, you do the job, and then you go home.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Apex personally. I feel and have my perspective is I believe that it's kind of the closest thing right now to how we can see how like mixed martial arts is like supposed to be perceived, or like supposed to be taken in. It's like, it's up close, it's personal. It's not like, I don't feel like it's much of like I'm entertaining a giant crowd and having to be more of like a performer versus just like a mixed martial artist. Like I think if we're looking at like martial arts and mixed martial arts, I think that, I personally take it in and take in like the essence of it in a smaller environment. As the events grow, like even let's say ADCC, that was giant last year. Like, yeah, it was cool. It was exciting, but it was different because it's like jiu-jitsu, like the biggest jiu-jitsu tournament I've ever been to with all of this loud. So I wasn't really able to take in the purity of the jiu-jitsu and the moment and the skill of the best grapplers in the world because I'm so overstimulated by thousands of people and loud music and all this stuff. So I think that like the Apex definitely has a lot of benefits that I enjoy, and I have no issue ever fighting there. I don't necessarily it doesn't affect me that it's not in front of a crowd because I think that the Apex also, I don't know numbers, but I think it gets a lot of viewers. It's free, so people can just tune in and see what's going on. It's not a big event, but I feel like a lot of people watch those cards. And the people who can't afford to go to the stadium, which is a good amount of people, can watch from home. And I feel like it's nice. Like I don't see anything bad at all.
As you mentioned, you were supposed to fight in Austin on December 2nd against Azamat Murzakanov. He has to withdraw due to an illness. In steps Anthony Smith. What was your reaction when you found out that a veteran like Anthony Smith, high profile, much higher profile name than Azamat, takes this fight on such short notice against someone like you who is just rolling right now? Were you surprised by that?
I was literally equally both. I was surprised, but not surprised. Like as soon as the feeling of surprise came up, then I'm like, well, it's Anthony Smith. Like, of course I'm not surprised, So, just knowing the type of competitor and guy that he is, I knew that him accepting this fight, I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, he is kind of what I perceived. Like, this guy, like he has lion heart because it's like, that's courageous, man. Taking a big fight on 10 days notice, man, respect. So I was surprised, but also I was like, yeah, but how could I expect anything different?
How did you feel about your performance in the fight? You win via stoppage in the third round, another great finish. But leading up to that point, what was your assessment of the way you fought?
I would say, in all honesty, I am really, really happy for like it's been a long time since I've been able to watch one of my fights and actually feel like happy for myself and like proud of myself. There's like, I can go and watch past fights and like things happen and like, yeah, it's cool. But this was the first one, even more than the Eric Anders fight, that I was just really happy with myself. And how I handled everything, from like just like my pace to my awareness to just like emotions and like the moment, and dealing with a monster in Anthony Smith, like right in front of me, and not losing my my vision, and like I didn't get caught up and like over emotional. I was there the whole time from start to finish. I didn't sit down between the rounds. I was like talking to my coaches. I was there, man. I was there from the moment I stepped in the apex to the moment I closed my eyes. I was just there. And so I was happy with how I fought.
Do you usually not feel that way? And if so, what do you usually feel?
I mean, I do feel that way, and I have felt that way. But it's becoming more natural now, and like there's just kind of like less resistance as I mature and as I continue to just like work hard and be able to get success and win fights. It's all just it's maturing. Like I'm just like now experiencing it more and more, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I think that I like know who I am in here.
And when did you start to feel that? Like, is this a recent thing? Last couple fights, when you started to feel like, okay, I know who I am.
It's building. It's building. I think that this fight was like the confirmation for me. I think that I've felt this. I've tried to figure it out. I've tried to get that answer. I've tried to kind of find my place in all of this, and keep growing and keep learning and keep seeing new pieces of myself. And after this fight, I think that was like the confirmation. Like, that's exactly who you are. Now keep going. You know what I mean? Like, that's exactly who you are. So now, like, let's work. We got the answer. Now let's really get to work.
I love it because it's coming through in your performances, in your fights. And like I said, the finish was tremendous. And, some fans will care about this, some will not. Some media will care about this, some will not. I personally love it, but I know it's easier said than done. That moment there where you could have punched him when he was down and you didn't, and you're like up here and you stop yourself. I totally understand why this happens. Momentum. It's easy for us sitting on the couch to be like, you shouldn't throw that punch, but there's so much more going on. Can you explain what's going on in your mind at that point, and what stops you from throwing those extra punches when, so many others would?
For this fight specifically, I think it goes back to what I was just talking about, and I just felt in control of everything going on inside of me, and whatever, like, I had to make sure that I was doing the right things to not really take a lot of damage from Anthony. So I was just there. I was aware. So I was prepared, but I was there. So my body didn't just react to the motion of him falling down. Like, I watched his eyes from the moment the punch landed to the moment he fell. So I never disconnected. My feelings didn't go, there's the finish I've been looking for. No, it's like, I was like, I got it right here, but I'm still making eye contact, and I see that your eyes are still moving, and I can see that the ref is coming in to check. So I'm like, before I do something that's dangerous, like I actually got a chance to think about it. And that's also something that made me so happy after this fight, because it's not like, damn, yeah, I did that in the moment. Like, no, dude, I saw it and I was like, and like, if I need to, I will. But like, even then, you're just like, whatever, rep steps in. And I'm like, all right, cool. Thank God I don't have to. Like that's what the shrug is about. It's like, there's like a small piece where like I'm kind of like at the end and I'm like, fuck, thank God. I'm like, okay, like I got it. No. All right. It's over.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What I liked about this matchup in some, I really like and admire Anthony as well. Same with you. You're two of the more thoughtful people in the sport. And I'm wondering if you shared any words afterwards.
Yeah. Actually, like, much respect to Anthony Smith, because before the third round, he, like, it looks like we're just gauging, distance. But for me, it felt like a touch of gloves. And also before that third round, he's just like, good fucking shit, man. Like, he's like, good work. And I was like, how cool, how cool, because I don't pay attention to, like, I deal with enough already. So people's opinion of me, I try not to even read things, but just from what I've heard, like word of mouth, just feedback stuff, and people were just like, yeah, like, I don't think this guy has any respect and things like that for you. So I'm like, okay, enough said. I don't need to go see, I don't need to read into it. Okay. So to hear that already, like, in my mind, having heard and having thought, like, this guy doesn't care about me, he doesn't respect me, I'm like, okay, cool. So to earn that respect from a guy like Anthony Smith, like, during the fight, amazing. And then even after, he, like, told my coaches, like, great game plan, and he came up and we shook hands and, like, took a photo together and, things like that. So it couldn't have happened, it couldn't have happened any better for me personally.
By the way, have you always been that way, where you don't read the comments or pay attention or seek them, or is that something you've had to develop over time?
I definitely developed over time, but it's been a long time. Like, I struggle with social media in the sense of, like, I want to be active and, like, I want to communicate and do things, but there's just too much out there, too many opinions. And, like, as things happen for me and people start to become more familiar with who I am, it allows just way too much access. So I just try to keep people updated on anything that, like, I think is kind of, like, cool, whether it's like a photo shoot that I did with my sponsors, or like a magazine, or, like my golf swing, or, I just posted and I just shut it down, because there's just too many opinions. And sometimes, like, the negative ones, obviously they sting more than, certain. And I just think for the sake of my own, like, mental health, it's just better that I just stay away from it and just be more aware of, like, what's happening in my actual world. And it just makes me a lot happier.
To that point, I was looking at your Instagram. I think it was on Sunday. It might have been on Monday. And I was looking at the comments in one of your last posts. And maybe it was the post right after you won. It was one of the very recent ones. And someone wrote something about, because you wrote a nice caption, and then someone in the comments wrote something about how the comment section for your page is an amazingly positive place, as opposed to, at times, the cesspool that is the comment section on other celebrities or athletes or fighters' pages. And that in itself was like, oh, wow, for someone to note that's pretty interesting, because I know how toxic and negative it could be. So then I went to look at your other, posts, just a quick look at some of the other comments, and it was all positive. And we were talking about this on Monday, about how, like, some people put out negativity and they get negativity back. And your page is very kind of, like, pure and wholesome and authentic. And so it seems like you're putting that out and you're getting it back. I know you say that you don't read that, but that comment really stuck to me, because again, it could be so negative and so detrimental. Have you noticed that it just seems like your supporters and your kind of little orbit is all very pure and positive?
Yeah, I think I definitely see that, and like I appreciate it. And that is why part of me, like I feel like I have like a duty to at least tap in and try to respond as much as I can, right? Because I don't want to leave people hanging, especially when it's positive. Like that is the best. Like that's what keeps me going. Like that's the fuel, right? Especially for like, yeah, the fans and the supporters. And so I think it's great. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like I feel a sense of responsibility, right? I think that every top professional athlete has a responsibility when we are on things like, I'm talking to you and there's just people who are watching and people who are looking, and maybe for inspiration, maybe for knowledge, like to learn something, but no matter what, there are a lot of people that are watching. So I feel like as a professional, like high level athlete, we are responsible. And so I choose to try to be the best that I can be, not only for myself, but for people who are also tuning in for whatever reasons, right? And so it's nice to be able to get positive feedback, because I'm like, okay, cool. At least with this opportunities in this position that I'm blessed with in life, it's doing something good. Even my last post, I'm like, I'm not perfect and I don't strive to be perfect, but I'm trying my best to better myself and be more aware of more than just me and my feelings and what's important to me and what I want to show. I'm trying to consider more people, because that would have helped me in my past. So I do see things like that, and it's fuel, because I'm just like, okay, cool. At least I'm getting at least I feel like it's like inspiration to keep going on a good path. And I don't want to mess it up,
Right. Correct me if I'm wrong. You don't usually call out fighters in post-fight interviews, but you did mention the champion this time, which got a lot of people excited. Why did you do that this time?
Yeah, this was the first time I've ever said another name on the microphone post-fight. I think this is a part of also the positive feedback from the fans. After Alex's last fight, I did see that a lot of people were tagging me and saying this would be a great matchup. And I watched that fight, and I watched all of Alex's fights, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, it would be a great matchup. My fans like to see me strike, and his fans like to see him strike. And we both have an intensity about us. We both have, I feel like, a good fighter spirit, Alex, I think that just from a fan standpoint, I think that it's just a fight that's just yeah, that's a sick fight. I'm not necessarily, I hope that people don't think that was me saying I deserve a title shot, because that's not my intentions at all. That's not what I'm calling for. I'm not on this tear and being I've been on so much of a tear that I deserve a title shot. No, it's just more of if that's what the fans want to see, then let's make it happen, versus putting me versus, someone else who is probably just going to try to wrestle me, which I'm okay with, but I don't think that it's as exciting for my fans. Let's just say if I'm responsible for my fans want to see me fight another striker, because people like to see me strike. I've never shot a takedown in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would love to see it.
That's more of that's kind of a more clear view on the intention. So
How confident are you that that's a possibility, that your next fight could be against Alex? I know you're ranked 8th now, so you've moved up 3 spots in the UFC rankings, whatever that means. How possible do you think this is?
Well, if we're talking about possibility, I'm the type of guy where like I really believe that anything is possible. So I can say 100%, right? If we're talking possibility, like such a big word and we all look at it differently. But yeah, I think that like it really does depend. It depends on if the UFC does like if they want to make it happen, if they don't feed into the politics and they're just like, you know what, yeah, this is a good fight and I think we should make it happen, then like I think that's kind of more what it is. Or you know what I mean? Because it's really up to them and it's up to Alex, you know? So I guess it just all depends on like, you know, persuasion.
Do you have any sense? Do you have any, like, it's been a few days since Saturday. Do you have any sense as to whether or not this could happen?
Like, I don't have any sense whatsoever. I haven't spoken to anybody in the UFC. I haven't heard anything, and there hasn't been any sense.
Do you manage yourself?
Yeah, at the moment.
Wow. Any particular reason?
I think that before, I think you're friends with Markel, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Markel Martin. Yeah.
Yep,
I was with Markel and Creative Artist Agency in LA. But they dissolved the combat sports division, which, you know, left all of the agents to kind of, you know, if they wanted to stay agents, then they had to find a new agency. And I think that like for that reason, I just looked at it as like, well, maybe now is maybe now is when I try to get a little bit of experience of what it even means to be like an agent or manager, because I also don't have a retirement plan. So, you know, like, I don't know how that process works. I don't know what's being talked about in these meetings and negotiations, you know, with Mick and Dana and Hunter. And, you know, I don't know what's being said if I have an agent, because I was really never present in any of those talks. So I think that right now is the time for me to be 100% present in these talks and say what I, you know, want, or my ideas and things directly, you know, because I am trying to be a person where, like, I guess I don't necessarily need someone else to speak for me. I know exactly what I want. You know what I mean? And then, so like, if you don't agree with it, okay, then like, let's find common ground and then move forward. And so it's more of like, unfortunately, combat sports, or the CAA combat sports division, got dissolved. And I had the choice to continue to work with Markel, who's done so much for me. But I think that I need this experience right now to see like what's going on, you know, like, what is this all about? What does it even mean to be an agent?
I like that and respect that. I like asking this question, especially this time of the year. So I'll ask you the same one. This time next year, December of 2024, where are you at in your career?
December 2024?
Yeah. A year from now. You the champion?
Yeah, I'm definitely the champion in my career. Yeah. I'm definitely the champion. And I'd say this would be the prime time, being the champion, that I can start to do something that involves the city of Las Vegas. Something, you know, like, I think that's like, being the champion in Las Vegas for me, like, they kind of go hand in hand. Like, not only do I want to do this for myself, but I want to do this for my city. I feel like the city deserves a UFC champion, and there will be a champion from Las Vegas one day. hopefully I'm the first, you know, and then like, hopefully I can be that. And then, you know, the kids on the east side of Las Vegas can see like, oh, there was a guy from here. The first ever UFC champion was from Las Vegas. I can go join a gym. I can also do this because what can we be in Las Vegas other than like entertainers or like casino tenders or, you know, just keep the city alive. So maybe, you know, there's a young kid out there, or will be a young kid out there that needs to know that it's possible, you know, to be a champion out of Las Vegas. you know, like if nothing else, you know, if you don't know where you're going in life, you don't know, if you don't think you're smart enough to go to college and you're not, you know, strong enough to defend yourself, well, there's plenty of gyms here and you can go and be a champion if nothing else, you know, like, yeah, like just like how I was, man. I was afraid to go to the military. Didn't think I was smart enough for college. You know, I'm mediocre at playing any instruments. You know, all these things. I'm like, well, what am I gonna do then? You know, I'm just gonna work at Jimmy jobs like I was, or I'm gonna work at the fight shop and, you know, just work a job and hopefully get better and get promoted to manager. And I was like, nah, I mean, that's cool, but I feel like there's more, especially like with who my father was. You know, like so. Yeah, next year champion, and then like trying to do something, you know, for the city, like try to make at least the foundation of a mark on the city, whether it's like a gym or, you know, Boys and Girls Club, or just like something that just like is like, I'm from Las Vegas, I've left the mark on the city, and like now I can go and enjoy my life elsewhere, and just like I've left something at home. I've left something there for, you know, for the people.
I love it. We're lucky as a sport that there's people like you in it. It's a lot of fun to watch your journey and to see the success that you are having now. Congratulations on all the success, on the win on Saturday, and good luck, as a big 2024 is just around the corner for you. I have no doubt that all of that is attainable. So thanks for the time, Khalil. Appreciate it. I'm going to start calling you that. I hope you don't mind. Really happy for you, and much love, and keep up the great work.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
There he is, Khalil Rountree Jr., 5 in a row now in the UFC's light heavyweight division, talking about fighting the likes of Alex Pereira. And like I said on Monday, I would love to see it happen. I would absolutely love to see it happen. There are obviously guys out there, namely Magomed Ankalaev and Johnny Walker, fighting on January 13th. That's the first card of 2024, the main event of the first card of 2024. It's an important fight. But you tell me they book Khalil Rountree Jr. versus Alex Pereira and you're not watching? You tell me they book that fight and it's boring? There's no chance. There's no chance. There's no chance. I wanted to ask him, is it true he's never actually shot for a single takedown once? Believe it. Just not that kind of guy. And not to say that that's like a bad thing and should be a strike against you. But he is a lot of fun to watch. And like I said, he has won 4 out of his last 5 via finish, 5 in a row for him. All right, let's move along now and turn our attention to UFC 296. Our next 2 guests will be 296 related. Still to come, Dave Lovell, head coach for Leon Edwards, and also, of course, Anthony Pettis and Benson Henderson together headlining that Karate Combat card on Friday. But what about the co-main event on Saturday? One of the best cards of the year, arguably the best main card of the year. The co-main event is for the flyweight title. It's the relatively new champion. He won the belt back in July, Alexandre Pantoja, defending his belt against an old foe, Brandon Royval. He's in Las Vegas. He's kind enough to join us. Let us say hello to Brandon right now. There he is. What's up, Brandon? How are you?
Good. And yourself?
I'm doing really well. Thanks so much for doing this. I know it's a very busy day for you. It's media day and all that stuff, so we're not going to take too much of your time. But you know, I got to ask, man, what a journey for you. You've won your last 3 in a row. I know we were talking a few months ago when you were trying to get this title shot. It's here. It's this it's not just some like rinky-dink card. It's not some ho-hum card. This is blockbuster stuff, man. And you're on the marquee. You're in the co-main. Can you just describe on this Wednesday morning in Vegas what is going through your body, your mind right now as you're partaking in this massive card with all these superstars?
Yeah, bro. I like I don't know. It's hard to accept sometimes. It's hard to like come to reality with like some of the things. But I was driving down to Las Vegas. I think it's the Las Vegas Boulevard, the big one where the strip's at. And I'm driving my friend's nice car, like a I don't even like a Coupe de Ville. I'm not good at cars, but I look up and then all over all the like big screens is 296, a big picture of me. And I don't know, man. I feel like sometimes I never had like a high expectation of myself with MMA and sports and any of that stuff. I never really thought I was going to be this far, but the fact that we're here and the fact that I'm on screens and the fact that I'm fighting for a belt is, I don't know, man. It's not only like it's hard to accept, but I just like don't really believe it, you know?
Wow, surreal. I was going to ask you, does this feel surreal? It sounds like it does.
Oh, super surreal, super surreal. And it's like, I don't ever really even believe I'm going to fight half the time until I'm looking at my opponent. That being said, is like in this situation, it's even like the fighting for the belt just doesn't even seem like it's a thing, really. Honestly, it's just I'm getting ready to fight Alexandre Pantoja. I don't know, man. It's cool. Like sometimes I like when I listen to your show, I hear all these people and they're like, "Oh, I knew I was gonna be champ. I knew this," and I'm like, well, I was happy to be here, bro. I'm just happy to be here half the time. So it's like, I don't know, fighting Alexandre Pantoja, and it's just like to me, it's just like it's an opportunity to get revenge, and I feel like that's my main goal. Like fuck the belt to a degree, but at the same time, it's just hard for me to accept any of that stuff too, you know. So it's been a wild journey for sure, and I'm just so happy that I get a chance to just show my life's work finally, you know, and fight for that belt. Yeah.
What was it like when you got the call that you were going to get to fight for the belt?
It was, it seemed like a little bit of like, hey, thank you very much, bro. Sorry, I'm leaving the Uber right now. It seemed like a perfect manifestation of everything, man. Cause I was at that UFC, like the Mexico card or then the like Mexican Independence Day card. And I was out at the Palms, and I would run to T-Mobile every day. I'd run around it, and I'm like, all right, man, this is where I'm probably going to fight for a belt. Like, that's where I wanted to, you know? And I was just thinking that every day. And then I was watching the week before when I cut weight with like Moreno and Pantoja when they're fighting for the belt. I could just see their face all over the boulevard. Like it was just crazy. And like, it's like, I want that so bad. And like, but after that UFC Mexico card, as soon as my flight landed, I got a call from my manager saying, December 16th, we're going to Mexico. We're going to T-Mobile in Las Vegas and fighting Pantoja for the belt. And it was just like, I spent the whole week just like kind of thinking it over and over again. I'm like, this is going to be the place. This is going to be the place. And it just seems so suiting, you know?
And in the last few months you know, what has it been since September? So last 3 months, you're preparing for your first title fight on this gigantic card. Has it felt different to you, or are you able to block that out?
I think I'm really good at blocking it out. I feel like just me refusing to accept that it's happening just keeps me locked in perfectly of just being like, whatever. It's just, I'm fighting, I'm getting prepared. And it's like, I feel like I have like a good coping mechanism as far as just not accepting that it's going to happen. And it just like, it's no different than any other fight, honestly, except for that I'm getting revenge on Alexandre Pantoja.
Do you allow yourself at night to dream what it would feel like and how your life would change if you get that belt? Like, do you let your mind go there at times?
Yeah. Sometimes I do, man. Sometimes it's like, I just hope like, and I guess if any fighters are listening to this, they'll know, but it's just like, you sacrifice so much to be here. I've done so much crazy shit. I've worked so many different jobs, odd jobs, not sleeping. So many people like I like cut out of my life because I just never had time for them, you know, and just so many like relationships gone by the way. And like, I just hope at the end of the day, when I get that belt wrapped around me, that it's just like, I find what I'm looking for, you know, and I find that like, I just didn't waste my time, you know, and I don't know, man. I hope whatever hole I have that I'm trying to fulfill, that I find it that day, you know. And it's like such a dumb thing because you know it's not going to happen, but it's just like, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm forever going to be chasing a pot of gold and nothing will ever be good enough. But it's just like, this is definitely something cool, at least, you know.
What is the hole that you were trying to fulfill?
No, I don't even know. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, I've always been chasing something, you know, and then once this next goal is here, then it's like, well, what then? You know, it's like,
right.
Well, when you finally reach the pinnacle of MMA, you win a UFC belt, then it's like, damn, how crazy, you know, like, I don't know. I just hope it's all worth it, man. I guess is what I was trying to say.
I think it will be. Obviously, you keep mentioning getting revenge. 2.5 years ago, you fought him. It didn't go your way. What's the biggest lesson you learned from that fight?
Patience, man. I feel like you got to enjoy the journey, man. You got to enjoy the journey of like fighting. Like even like I was so desperate to get out of the cage when I was younger, and like even not even younger, I guess 2 years ago, even it's just like I have fights that are 20 seconds, and that's awesome. But I've also been punched unnecessary times because I'm taking unnecessary risk, and it's like I watch fights, I break down fights all the time. I've watched Alexandre Pantoja fight a million times, and then I go in and fight like an asshole, and it's like, why? Like I've done all the homework, I've done all the studying, I know how to fight properly, and it's like what makes me exciting is also what put me in danger, you know. And it's like in a shootout, I was almost always sure that I was going to be the one to leave on top in a shootout with anybody, just because I have such a danger factor of being really good at submissions and a knockout threat. But Alexandre Pantoja also showed me in a shootout he's super dangerous too. And it's like, it's one of those with Alexandre Pantoja is that second round came, and I almost was like counting my chickens before they hatched. It's like, oh, this fight's over. Like I looked at across the ring from him, and I was like, it's all but over. And like even 30, 40 seconds into the fight, me and him are going, and I'm like, oh, he's done. Like there's no way he can last. And I just kept watching it slip by me. And I like overthrew a punch, and then I got my back taken, and I just watched the whole fight kind of slip away slowly. And it was all created off unnecessary risk, man. I didn't need to do any of that.
How do you feel about them making Brandon Moreno the backup fighter?
I think it's a really good opportunity for him to make a little bit of money. I kind of think, and I didn't realize how close that his fight is like, is that a good idea to be cutting weight and then fighting in like 2 months right afterwards? That was the only thing that I was kind of thinking about. I'm like, that could be a bad thing on his health. But if the weight cut's not hard on him, then I get it. Go make your money, you know?
And I got to ask before I let you go, I mean, the press conference tomorrow is one of the most anticipated ones in recent history with all the characters involved. You're going to be up there amidst all of that. Is this something that you're looking for? I know you're an MMA fan and you're probably like, enjoying all of this, but there's a chance this kind of goes off the rails and gets a little bit wacky, right? With the characters involved. Are you dreading this or looking forward to this?
I'm honestly kind of dreading it, to be 100% honest. Like I have so much respect for my opponent, and then it's like when I see all the other characters up there, I'm like, I feel like I like Alexandre Pantoja better than most of these guys, to be completely honest. Like as far as like a person goes, I'm like, me and him rode the elevator together. I bumped into, and it's like, it's just nothing but like good vibes. And like, I just like, I don't know. I'm interested to see what people say. But that being said, is just like, I've never been about the drama, like I don't really care about that necessarily. But yeah. So I guess I'm kind of dreading it, and I don't know what to say if something comes up to me. I panic under these situations.
Well, I think they'll do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Just curious, do you enjoy more when there's animosity with your opponent as opposed to a guy who is so likable and who you respect so much?
Oh, absolutely. Like, don't get me wrong. I love talking shit. Like, I'll talk shit to my last breath. That being said, is like the flyweight division is so nice. Like everybody I go against is so nice. I'm not gonna go out of character to go be an asshole. If somebody talks shit on me, I'm all about that. Like, bring that to my door, please. That being said, is Alexandre Pantoja is not going to do that. Brandon Moreno is not going to do that. Kai Kara France is not going to do that. Like, they're all just like genuinely nice people that are like, yeah. So, yeah, I do enjoy it though.
Official prediction.
I don't know if this is a prediction, but this is what I want. What I want is I want to drop him and I want to submit him. I want to get absolute revenge. I want a submission victory.
I love it. Wish you the best, Brandon. Take care. Good luck. Good luck the rest of the way this week. And then, of course, on Saturday. Appreciate the time very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, too. I appreciate you. Have a good day.
All right, there he is.
Bye.
Brandon Royval, Raw Dog, standing outside the UFC HQ. Big opportunity for him, big week for him. And then, yes, of course, there's going to be a lot of characters at that press conference. Don't get your hopes up too much. There's a chance that it's not what you think it is going to be, but there's also a chance that it is, totally insane, batshit crazy, as they say, with the likes of Colby Covington and Hattie Pimblett and Tony Ferguson and Ian Gary. I think it will be fun. I think the one who has the most potential to like really stir the pot is obviously Colby, because that's more his shtick. And I saw a lot of people saying like, "Hey, you were too hard on Colby on Monday about the layoff stuff," which is whatever, because they were saying like, "Oh, he was assaulted and there was like a criminal case and all that stuff." And yes, obviously that happened. I just don't know if that's the reason why he was out for so long. I mean, let's not forget, he did weigh in as the backup fighter back in March, so 9 months ago. So presumably he would have been ready to fight back in March. And presumably he went through a whole training camp to get to the weigh-in spot, or at least a week or two. I know it came together relatively quickly, but you have to think there was some sort of training involved. So it's not like he was only cleared to fight now, even though the case ended now. The Colby Covington thing for me is one of the most interesting stories of my career, because the old school fans will remember, I didn't have much of a relationship, a connection with Colby Covington. And then there was a period where he was talking smack to me on Twitter. I think he said that I play with Harry Potter cards in my mom's basement or something like that, my parents' basement. And I actually kind of like that, because the first time Colby Covington really truly came on my radar as a smack talker, I think it was UFC 202. It was one of those summer cards in 2016, and he was talking about fighting Robbie Lawler and whatnot. And I was like, Colby Covington fighting Robbie Lawler? He's just nowhere near those guys at the moment in terms of notoriety. But I think that's when he finally started to realize that he had to talk a little bit. And I think he didn't like that I hadn't had him on the show, because there was just nothing that was, for whatever reason, just catching our attention. And then I had him on the show after he talked smack to me, and I enjoyed him very much. I really enjoyed talking to him. And that was probably 2016. And then we get to 2018. I remember the last card that I covered for MMA fighting before going to ESPN was his interim title fight against RDA. So, he's very much in the mix at, 170 while I'm at ESPN. And I would have him on the show all the time. And what kind of, I don't know what the word is. I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for. But let's just say there was a lot of pushback about having him on the show in the ESPN days, to the point, I don't really care about saying this. I was told that I had to, I had to do his interviews pre-taped. I'd have to pre-tape his interviews on a live show, just in case he said something that was off the rails. And he would come on the show and he would say, "Oh, you're the best journalist," and all this stuff. And he would wear the hat, and they would tell me, ask him not to wear the hat, or they would say, "Can we frame it?" I was like, no, he wears the hat. He is who he is. I don't think he's offending anyone by wearing this hat, or even the things that he says. And, we have to let everyone be themselves. There was a Fleet Week thing that I had to, try to almost move mountains to get some coverage on, that he was being honored. And I really felt like I went to bat for this guy who I had no real connection to. And, I don't agree with everything that he says, certainly. But I feel like these characters, this is the fight game, and he connects with people, and he's a great fighter. And, these are the characters that you have to cover in a fair and honest way. And then he fought Tyron Woodley, and then the whole thing happened with Kamaru Usman on the post-fight show. And then on DC and Helwani on that Monday, I said, I thought that it went a little bit too far, and it was a little uncomfortable, and some of the things he said. And I've never talked to him since. I've not had any interaction with the guy since. And that is just utterly bizarre. Not even an explanation. I think he told Chael that he felt betrayed by me and all this stuff. And this is a guy who was playing a heel character. And, that kind of bummed me out a little bit, if I'm being honest. Because I really did feel like, of my entire time at ESPN, I stuck my neck out for this guy. I really had to battle to get him on the show. And then I had to agree to do pre-tape interviews. This whole show that you're watching is live. It has always been live. There has only been one set of interviews that is pre-taped, and it was Colby, and it was a couple times. And that kind of blew my mind. Why are we pre-taping this? And I had to explain that to him. And now you see him doing interviews at Trump, and Trump's in the interviews and all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, times have changed. Good. I'm happy. We shouldn't be afraid of this stuff. And obviously that stuff's not live, but he didn't like that I said that it went a little bit too far. I would argue that a heel shouldn't mind that sort of thing. I don't think it was unfair. And again, like, you don't have to come on the show, but, you text me back and explain, okay, what did I say that was unfair? What did I say that went too far? There's a part of me that thinks like, oh, maybe he thinks now that I'm not at ESPN, I don't need Ariel anymore. I don't know. Because I can't think of any other explanation. I know he talks to a bunch of other outlets as well. And this isn't even about him coming on the show. I would talk to the guy a lot. Newsflash for a lot of you. I don't just talk to a lot of these guys on the show. A lot of them I have relationships with. A lot of them I'm talking to multiple times before I ever asked them to come on the show. That's just the way it is. That's how you keep up the relationships. And this one was bizarre because I thought I was always really fair and and I kept it real with him. So all this to say, I don't have an axe to grind. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not trying to say, I was just trying to understand why they are giving him the title shot now. And I know that he's the most popular guy. And then I was trying to think if there was another person who had this kind of a layoff going into a title fight when they were not champion before. And so that's it. I think he's incredibly talented. I think he's incredibly popular. He's clearly the most popular guy in the division who's available to fight for the belt. And it's going to be a fascinating world if he wins the title, and we'll see what happens. Definitely think it's going to be an incredible fight, whether or not he deserves it. He did enough. He's been active enough. Like the Styles matchup is going to be incredible. I just wanted to kind of explain where I was coming from there because I see people saying like, oh, why didn't you have Colby on the show? Why didn't you have this, that? Like, I haven't asked him to come on the show in maybe 2-3 years because he doesn't respond to my text. So there's no real way to ask him to come on. I just don't understand where things went awry. And if you are ultimately playing the heel, which is fine, I love that stuff. Obviously, as a wrestling fan, I advocate at times for people to lean in. Why would one critical comment, one negative comment, change the way you interact with me? Weird one. One of the weirder ones, and there have been weird ones over the years. I will not lie. This one is certainly up there. It's not weird. Cash App, they are not weird. Let's talk about savings, guys. The nest egg you keep around, waiting to spend on something good. Well, Cash App has the tools to make that saving easier. That means you can start building towards your savings goal, $1 at a time. What are you saving for? We've got some ideas. How about Ariel? How about a trip to Cancun? Did you see what happened there, Frank?
Yeah.
No, perfect. What happened?
You just pause for a second.
I had a Ron Burgundy moment. There's a whole bunch of things, Frank, that you can be saving up for. You can be saving up for a trip, Christmas trip, a spring break trip, new collection of gym bags. Yeah. Maybe you want to go whale watching. Maybe you want to get a new PS5. Maybe you want to go on a road trip with your wife. Maybe you want to go to Buffalo to watch our beloved Bills. It doesn't matter what it is. Reaching your goals, whatever they may be, is faster with Cash App's roundups and offers. You're paying yourself even while you're paying someone else. And while your money in Cash App is building, you don't even need to think about it. You can be literally doing anything else, and that cash will continue to grow. Think of it like financial self-care. That's money, that's Cash App. Download Cash App from the App Store or Google Play Store to start saving today. Speaking of relationships, by the way, that have gone awry in my sort of state that I'm in right now, I did want to also mention, I saw an interview with Paddy Pimblett in GQ UK, I think it was yesterday, and they asked him about our drama from this time last year, the Wednesday show before the final pay-per-view of the year, as crazy as that sounds. And actually, it was the first time that I've ever read or heard Paddy say that, like, yeah, maybe the words were a little bit too intense, the weight cutting, all that stuff. Did call me a snitch, did call me all this stuff. His version of the story about me telling him not to take a paid gig, still untrue. I've already, shown everything that there is to show, and they said that they were going to show stuff to refute my story, and that never happened. I would never tell someone to turn down a paid gig just to come on my show. And he said I was slagging him off. I never did that as well. And I still don't think I've ever done that ever since that interview with Dana. But that's neither here nor there. I did reach out to someone close to him yesterday. Don't need to say who, just to say and to send the message, not only to him, but to Graham as well, that I wish him the best, that I hope that there are still no hard feelings, that I hope that we can, move past this, that I'm looking forward to the return, and I'm wishing them nothing but good things. I'm really looking forward to this fight. Again, this is a long-standing relationship, and it was a great relationship, and I enjoyed it very much. And I don't really, contrary to what a lot of people may think, I don't want any of this drama or negativity or any kind of stuff. I'm not looking for it. Sometimes it's a byproduct of doing a show and being critical and talking about things, but it's not something I am seeking. I can assure you of that. And so I didn't want to reach out to him personally, just because I didn't want to start any drama. I didn't know how it would be received. I didn't want to be a distraction or anything like that. But I did want to share that I feel this way, and I'm certainly not rooting against him or anyone ever. I don't want to root against anyone. I just want to enjoy the sport and watch the sport and appreciate the sport and the fights and the cards and all that stuff. And that will always be my stance. And hopefully it's reciprocated and we can move on from all of this. I think it's crazy that he's being asked about it in a GQ interview. Like, that's a huge deal. I see him talking about social media and the negativity of the past year. Like, I don't want to contribute to any of that. I don't want to be a part of any of that. I've not asked people to do that. I've not tried to pile on. Genuinely interested and curious to see how he looks, how he fights on Saturday. It's a big fight for him. Obviously, it's a gigantic fight for Tony Ferguson. And it's one of the most anticipated fights on the card. So let's see how it goes down. Scott from Portland. Hey, Ariel, I was wondering if you had a strict set of rules for... We're going to go back to the questions, by the way. Still to come, Dave Lovell, Benson Henderson, Anthony Pettis, Betts, etc. I was wondering if you had a strict set of rules for tipping when eating in a restaurant versus tipping when picking up takeout. I never know the proper etiquette and need you to weigh in. I'm also a big Connor consumer and a huge Rick head, so would like to hear their input as well. Restaurant... It's at least 20%. Delivery, it's usually around 15 to 20%. The one that I struggle with sometimes, and I understand this isn't a thing in Europe, like you'll go and get, I don't know, like a croissant somewhere, and they ask you for the tip. Yeah, I always give it, but it feels like it's getting a little bit crazy. But the way I think about it is I see some people saying like, look, you literally walked over there, got the thing, and put it in a bag. The way I try to view it is, you're just kind of giving them some love, appreciation for a job where they're on their feet for 8-9 hours and, at times could be frustrating and not very fun. So I just want to contribute to that. But it's amazing. Like when we were in Manchester, like when you go sit at a restaurant, there's no line for the tipping. It's unbelievable. It's not even a thing. Crazy. I kind of feel bad for them. I feel bad for the servers. I truly do. What do you think, Frank? What's your rule
They
set?
could just be paid properly.
That's fine. Yeah, they should be taken care of there. But
you think that's it?
I tip.
You think that's it?
I tipped a couple times when I was in England, and they were like incredibly grateful for it. They were very nice. I was like, oh yeah, of course. I'm just American and used to this.
They're like blown away. They're almost like embarrassed to take the money. It feels like, right?
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, they just felt grateful to me. At restaurants, I'm pretty standard across the board, 20%.
The worst thing happened to me. I was getting funny. You mentioned a croissant. It was a French bakery, but I put in no tip because it was counter service, and for whatever reason the card reader didn't work. So then the lady was like, "Oh, you do it like this," and then was like watching me when I was going to hit 0 on the tip. So instead, I left a $6 tip. And
wow, you got shamed. Oh, yeah, I stand my ground. I'm a no tipper on that stuff.
She then
no shot.
Reaches behind the register and pulls out a tip jar and sticks it back in front of the counter, like she remembered, like, oh, I should be.
Whoa.
It's a Seinfeld moment.
I mean, there's times sometimes where I fetch my own water bottle or whatever, and I just go to the counter to pay for it, and like it asked me for a tip. Like by
the way, there's nothing worse than when you give the tip and they don't see it, like the actual physical tip. Is that? Is that the worst feeling? Or
wow, you guys. I mean, you need this. They need to see you drop the dollar into the chip jar.
This is a Seinfeld episode.
Frank, you take the pressure when they turn the iPad and they're staring you down.
Yeah, when they're
I stand my
staring,
ground. I stand my ground.
I think it was all planned.
By the way, have you seen this episode of Seinfeld where I think it's George puts the dollar in the jar and they don't see it, and then he's at the pizza shop, I think, and then the guy turns around and she's trying to take the money out so that he could, and the guy thinks he's stealing from him.
Yeah, that's good. That's classic. Uber
amazing.
tips. You guys tip on Ubers?
Hardly.
Of course. You don't?
No. Sometimes
Really?
it's not a good ride.
That's a very new thing. I remember you used to not be able to tip on Ubers.
I remember when
Serious?
Uber was literally.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. You used to not be able to.
I remember when it was like a rideshare thing where it's like, hey, you're heading from location X to location Y, and someone needs a ride. You want to stop and make some money on the way, and then it's turned into like I'm a taxi driver. I don't. It just changed.
DoorDash
Wow.
and tipping heavy, Uber Eats, whatever, tipping heavy. I mean, people who don't tip on those, that's insane to me.
Wait, but how different is the delivery food person versus just the Uber person? Wouldn't you tip both?
Oh no, I typically tip on Ubers, but like Frank said, it depends on the ride.
You just said you didn't, so I.
No, all I did was ask. Frank said he didn't.
I hardly.
Yikes, Frank.
Can I get a ride home?
The big one where I don't is the counter service. I don't crumble to the pressure.
Yo, they almost make it impossible.
No.
They almost make it impossible.
You just
for you
hit
to
no
decline.
tip. Judge me. I'm okay with you judging me.
Whoever designed the articulate iPad thing where they could just roll it over to you.
Yeah, you roll it over, you stare at me.
Yeah, that was smart.
And then I will look you in the eye while I hit no tip.
Here's the reality of the situation. If you do leave the tip, they're not going to remember it was you, right? The George Seinfeld situation that you're talking about, all this, the guilt that you have, they're not going to remember, oh, that guy left that tip. So there is no guilt. The same way they're not going to honestly remember that you didn't leave the tip. They're not going to remember next time you come in. It doesn't matter. So you have to decide. Do you want to be somebody who tips for that to service people or not? Don't be guilted into the situation.
No, you can't.
And that is coming from somebody who tips on delivery pickup. I do tip on delivery pickup just because I imagine that they're kind of underpaid. So even if I walk in and just grab the bag and go, I will tip.
Oh, wait. You tip when you go and pick up food as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
you tip yourself.
No, I'm not doing that.
You're putting money in your pocket.
But
if I'm coming to pick
I
up,
won't be guilted. It's not because they're like looking me in the face. That does not matter to me.
Barbers,
I will not be pressured.
I tip.
I was told by
too.
my barber not to tip.
Oh, I tip barbers fairly heavily.
I feel like they're
charges
waiting
me
for you to tip. Like
I tip my barber more than the haircut.
I feel like the tip is built in.
He literally told me
Frank's
you
barber.
do not have to.
If there's anyone that I'm going to over tip, by the way, it's the barber, because like you can screw up my shit. I don't want.
Now it
makes
makes sense why Frank hated his beard so much.
You
now
think
it
a
makes
lot
sense.
about this, like people hating you because you like don't tip enough, Ariel.
Yeah, don't be guilted. Don't be guilted.
I
do it.
I don't feel the guilt.
Do it for the right reasons.
Yeah, you do a great job.
By the way,
Here you go.
I live with immense amount of guilt. My whole life is just being swallowed by guilt.
When something's comped,
This is my whole life.
do you tip on that?
Free yourself. It will feel so much better that you're doing it because you want to help them instead of because you're feeling the pressure of that.
Everything I do out of avoiding guilt.
How do y'all feel about? How do y'all feel about?
You're removing the joy. You're removing the joy from yourself and from them. It's the worst. Tip because you want to tip them.
Are you talking about built-in tip?
Yes. How do you feel about that automatic gratuity, like 20% built in?
Easy. Sure, go
if
for
they
it.
tell you
Only,
you the receipt.
yeah, only if there's a reason for it, right? Large party, whatever that is.
Right. A large party, like, or like me and Frank went to like a Thanksgiving dinner. I understand that they're going to be incredibly busy, though. I will say Frank didn't catch it. Tipped another 20% on top.
Oh, that's the worst.
Oh yeah. We caught that though.
I think it's unfair. The tip should be from your heart. It should be like, okay,
I agree.
You like the service, you did.
What if the service is terrible and you have to do a 20% tip like built in? It's just like, well, the service was terrible, man.
Only large party or some reason that it has to be built in. Otherwise, you can't just build it in. Come on, we live in society.
98% of the time, I'm just dropping the 20%.
I have a friend that tips extra hard on happy hour because he's like, this is really a way for.
I understand that.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
I get it.
Happy hour, the quantity goes up, therefore the 20% hits harder.
Does it feel like does it feel like tipping culture has feels like it's progressed?
I feel like it's one of those
more
things
forced on us.
Yeah, it's been the burden has been passed.
Not in Europe.
Oh yeah, in Europe it's great.
All right, let's move along.
I love it.
Dr. Tom Kenny. Hi, Ariel. I listened to the interview with Bisping and Chael. During the interview, they discussed the debate you had with Chael in the MMA Hour recently. Chael noted that he takes the approach as giving his opinion while you give the news, which brings me to the question. This is something that Chael has struggled with a little bit over the years because I think he thinks that my role is to just give the news. This is the problem that we had during the Ariel and the Bad Guy early days, when clearly I'm also evolving. And honestly, the reason for that was when I got to ESPN, I was just mainly the news guy. Even on this show, I was not really giving a lot of opinion, but they wanted me to transition away from the news guy and be more of the opinion guy, Ariel and the Bad Guy, etc. And so I had to kind of bring that out. And I think that was news to him. And I think he's still sticking to that. In any event, is this an issue with journalism today? I always thought that a journalist should report the news and provide the information while keeping accuracy and reliability. Is this more difficult today with sports journalists reporting news but mixing it with their opinion on the same feed? Do you find it difficult to balance providing news and opinions? I mean, you just have to know the lane that you're occupying. And yes, it's a little bit different now. There was once a time where I was just talking about this today when I was talking to the students at my high school. There weren't that many outlets to get news. There was the 6 o'clock news. Walter Cronkite, the most trusted man in America, would come on and he would give you the news, and there was no opinion. And now you tune in to the quote-unquote news, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, etc., and they're mixing news with opinion. The newscast is a mix of news and opinion. And I find it crazy that we're tuning into these outlets to get news when in reality we're getting slanted, biased news. We're getting a certain type of news. Now, you could go to some outlets out there. You go to the nightly news, you go to, the 6 p.m., 6:30 news, you're getting more of a unbiased news. But if you go to sports news, it's weird that if I went on SportsCenter and I said they're asking me to come on and talk about Tony and Khabib, and I'm like, yeah, I hope that Tony gets smashed and he sucks and he's crazy for thinking X, Y, and Z and blah, blah, blah. That would be inappropriate. But yet, for some weird reason, when you're talking about the real stuff, the news, it's okay to show extreme bias when you're talking about politics, the White House, etc. That is very bizarre. So I wish we went back to a time where it was a lot more down the middle and where it wasn't all, mixed infotainment and all that stuff. I think that's very dangerous. But, if I'm being honest, I saw that conversation and I didn't really have an issue with what Chael said. I still think he's holding on to this idea that I'm like the straight news guy, when in reality, there's a lot more to what we're doing here as far as the opinion and the hosting and the personality. I saw that Michael Bisping took a couple of shots at me in that one, and I've noticed a couple of shots over time. I don't know what that is all about. I like Michael a lot, and we've always had a great relationship. And he was parroting this thing that I'm so negative about the UFC and the UFC. I mean, honestly, the people who say that, are they just not watching the show? What has been negative? When are we negative? Is it because when there's a critical thing that happens or a potentially negative thing, we're the only ones that have the balls to bring it up and talk about it in an in-depth way and not hide? Is that why? Because I would say the show on Monday was all about, 296 being great. Last week was about Austin. Today is about when are we really negative? And so I hear him saying, oh, it's all about negativity and it's all about Dana White and it's all about this. When are we unfairly negative? And when are we harping on the negativity? And when are we ignoring the positive greatness of the sport just to talk about that? It's all bullshit. It's not true. But yet I see some of these people harping on that and parroting that, and it's a little bit disappointing. But I would like to think that the people that tune into the show recognize that that's not what the show is, and that's not what I'm about. And I love combat sports, and I feel like I try to shine a positive light on it. We try to have all kinds of people on the show, and people will say oh, why do you have this guy? Why do you have that guy? Or no one cares about this guy. We're trying to talk about the sport in the best way possible, the most positive way possible. And yes, there are going to be shitty moments, and there's going to be controversial moments, and there's going to be unsavory moments and all that stuff. If someone did a deep dive on the show, minute by minute for an entire year, I would venture to say that more than 90% of the stuff that we are saying is of, positive nature, shining a positive light. And by the way, that is not the job. The job is just telling it like it is. But it just so happens that we love the sport and the fighters and the fights, etc., that it just ends up being that way. You shouldn't have to sit there and say, I'm going to be positive today, or you shouldn't have to sit there and say, I'm going to be negative today. It's just what it is. And I think it's unfair to say that it's too negative, or that we're too negative, or that I'm too negative. But yet some people have been convinced over time that that's what it is, because we're not, overly positive, or, as they say, bootlicking and things like that, which, is a little bit frustrating, but I think the real ones know.
Could I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I believe that is a symptom of the same thing. Like the stuff you were talking about at the top in terms of how news is delivered and the difference between opinion and breaking hard news and journalism and all those things. I think media literacy is at an all-time low. I think most consumers don't know what media is or what they're actually getting. To me, that feels like the symptom of the same thing, which is what you're saying is we're presenting this thing, and a lot of people don't know what you're supposed to be doing. They think you are supposed to be shining a positive light on the UFC and saying the UFC is great because XYZ thing, because it appears that that's what people want. That is why I imagine the news has shifted so much in that direction. Do you think that's true? That media literacy is what's influencing all of this? Because that's my thought on it.
Yeah, to a degree, I think that there's a lack of trust in media, and so people think that there's always an ulterior motive, and they think that there's an axe to grind. And obviously, my relationship with Dana White in particular has been well documented, and it hasn't been positive for the past 7 years. So people think that I have an axe to grind, or think that I'm trying to shit on the UFC and that I'm trying to take them down and all this stuff. And it's total nonsense. I mean, we praise when the praise is needed, and we criticize when the criticize is needed. Obviously the thing that happened in January, I was vocal about it because I think it's a thing that happened on camera in front of all of us. And it's a thing that there should be repercussions for. And people looked at that as like having an axe to grind. But I would like to think that if I saw another fighter do that on camera in front of everyone, not an accusation, but like you saw it with your own eyes, I would feel the same type of way. But, ultimately, to answer your question, I think that people have a mistrust, and they already have preconceived notions, and they already think they know what they know, and so it's very hard to change their opinion. For example, like people will say that, like I said, oh, you're too negative, because, like I said, I think the majority of MMA coverage is overly positive, and it's not even positive, it's just not critical at all, which I think is just a byproduct of sports talk radio, right? Mike and the Mad Dog were critical of the Knicks, were critical of the Rangers, were critical of the Jets and Giants, but they still talked to the movers and shakers because they understood that this is, the way sports talk radio is. But I think sometimes in our sport, because that is so uncommon, the lone wolves out there stick out more. And Lord knows there's people that are way more, like on this side than we are, but like they stick out more. And so then you just get painted with that brush. Plus, in this day and age, you have a lot of UFC employees who are kind of acting as media, right? And they'll never say anything remotely critical of the UFC. And so then it gets a little bit blurry as well. It gets a little bit gray as well. It's like, who's actually the media here? Because, they're not going to say a thing. Why would they? They're getting paid by them. I wouldn't say a thing about, I'm not coming on this show talking about, the trials and tribulations of Vox Media, that doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't expect that from them. The audience needs to know better. They need to know what they're looking at. They need to know where they're going for the proper news or information, I would just say, and they need to consider the source. I don't know if that answers. I was going to go off the grid there for a second. Saw one that popped up here. Frank, I hope you don't get offended. Since we're in the holiday spirit, this is from Irwin. I wanted to know, what is everyone's favorite Christmas movie? Let's start with GC.
You did this one last year.
Did I?
Yeah, that's why I skipped it. Because
wow.
Let's do it again. Let's run it back.
No, mine's Christmas Vacation.
GC, give me
Christmas Vacation.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Watched The Grinch last night. It was great. Haven't seen that one in a while. 2000s Jim Carrey. Shout out. Elf also. It's probably the top three right there. It's probably the top three.
Home Alone for me.
One or two?
One.
Wow.
Two. Two all
definitely
day.
Better. Yeah. Two
okay, now I remember us doing this.
Two all day.
Listen,
Eyes Wide Shut.
It's one of the great. Is Eyes Wide Shut a Christmas movie? Did we do that as well?
God. More of a Christmas movie than Die Hard will ever be.
I was gonna say, I'm sure someone were gonna get the Die Hard. Oh yeah, Die Hard Christmas movie.
Yeah,
so
the Die Hard.
Original.
Alamo Drafthouse.
Never heard that before.
Put Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh, by the way, while you're at it, is a hot
dog
dog a sandwich? While you're at it, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Can we talk about
Are there
Rick
two
just
holes
getting
in a straw?
illuminated here?
Yeah, what's up with that?
beams of light coming out.
I had my
Eric
windows down. I got
Bronx
some natural light
Jackman.
coming in.
You've been
Illuminated
chosen,
by God
Rick.
over here.
Eric, this one's for you. Daniel McKay. What's good? Hell Warmy. I was wondering if you could shed some more light on the enigma that is Kaposa. You've often mentioned that his assistance in the end-of-year award show is pivotal, and his seeming omnipotence in all things combat sports makes him a must-follow account for all MMA fans. All true. I'm assuming anonymity is important to him, and I not want you to reveal anything personal. But I'm curious as to the nature of your relationship outside of the award shows and how far back it goes. Thanks, guys. Keep up the great work. Danny from Donnie. I don't remember the first time I followed the prolific Kaposa. For as long as I can remember being on Twitter, he was there. Just yesterday, we were DMing, and I offered to pay him for his tremendous research. I actually thought that his answer was incredible. He declined, and I don't know. In short, I won't read what he said, but in short, he says he does it out of the kindness of his heart, but as long as fighters are sort of they are shown love for their incredible feats throughout the year, like that brings him joy, and that's all he needs. And it's like, how much more of an MMA fan and how pure can you truly be, right? Like it's just a beautiful response. It's all about the fighters and what they do and what they sacrifice. I don't know anything about him. I don't know his real name. I don't know where he lives. I wouldn't obviously say it if I did. I've never met him. I know zero about him. I think maybe Rick knows something. Have you ever met him, or am I crazy?
I've tried a few times, and it just never worked out. Obviously, I used to do PR for Glory Kickboxing, and Kaposa is a huge kickboxing fan, and I've tried to get him to a few events, but the timing never worked. He was out of town. I think he was on the West Coast at the time, a few of the instances. So yeah, unfortunately, I've never gotten to meet him. That'd be great one day. I would hope to. But what a legend of a dude, and one of the only ones who, when he says, "I'm only doing it to highlight the fighters," I would believe. Pretty much anybody else I'd call BS, but he's the only one who every single minute of every single day is doing that for no monetary gain, right? He is just there as this resource because he loves it so much. So shout out to that guy. Like he's one of the real ones.
Legend. Love him. And I remember there was one time where he was banned from Twitter. That was a dark day. Thankfully, it was rectified.
That's the first time I've ever done a unban this person from Twitter post, because most of the time I can't give a flying F.
Quote unquote Twitter, MMA Twitter, whatever it is, and Lord knows it has become bastardized and is like, here's my thread on the top 5, like nonsense, bullshit.
Favorite UFC knockout? All-star.
Favorite
submission?
All-star.
All-star. Favorite blah, 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 blah.
Oh, my
I'll
God.
start. And they
That
always
guy
get
is
thousands
what-
of likes and a million responses.
Yes.
They're the worst.
That guy should be what MMA Twitter is. Like that is the prime example.
but
he is the quintessential MMA Twitter account. That's what it should be all about.
But then you lose. It becomes too homogenous. He needs to stand out.
I don't want everyone to be
Mr.
him,
Shining
but I'm
Light.
just telling you, all of you are doing it wrong. He's doing it right. Stephen Lanzi. Shalom, Ariel. How many teams do you have? Just kidding. Good one. The UFC is having a card in California for the first time in years with 298. Conspicuously, the California State Athletic Commission just passed a resolution to allow power slap in the state. We didn't talk about this on Monday, and I wanted to talk about it. I've long respected Andy Foster as one of the best, but the regulatory capture in this industry seems to prevent substantive change. What is the core of the problem, and how does it get fixed? Much love, your boy Lanzi. So on Saturday, we found out that BKFC and Power Slap had been given a provisional license in 2024 in the state of California, which I've often said the California State Athletic Commission is the gold standard when it comes to regulatory commissions. I will admit I was very surprised. I wasn't surprised about BK. They would be the 34th state, and I think it's inevitable that the majority of the states are going to sanction it. I was very surprised about SLAP because of my conversations with members of the Athletic Commission in the past, because of how dangerous I think it is, because it doesn't really feel like a sport. There's no defense. The stuff that they have done for, studies on the brain, for helping fighters, the pension, all that stuff, I was very, very surprised. So when I first saw the story, I was like, wow, that's crazy. Then I found out about the provisional license, which means they will hold one event, then they will do a bunch of data breakdown, research, see what happened, and decide if they will give them a full license. Maybe I'm being naive. I don't think that it is tied to 298. I don't. I'd like to think that that is not the case. One thing that was brought to my attention, which I do think is a solid reason for all of this, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think about it. As of last Friday, anyone could pitch a tent in the state of California and say, we're doing a slap fight event, and, let the good times roll. There'll be no medical supervision. There'll be no one looking after them. It'll just you could do it, bang, 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 and God bless. Apparently, due to the rise in popularity of this quote-unquote sport on social media, kids, frat members are doing these things. And that could be very dangerous as well. And so I think that part of the line of thinking was, all right, it's a thing. Rather than letting any promoter, quote unquote, come in and put on this event, having kids do it, all that stuff, now it has to go through us. And now there's only one entity, which, as crazy as it is, the UFC loves, it's they are the most professional and they are the ones that have their reputations to uphold and all that stuff. They're the only ones that could do it. As much as we don't like it, we have to come to terms with the fact that it's a thing and that the UFC and Dana White are pushing it so much. I could kind of live with that and see what they have to say about it afterwards. I don't want to be there. I just don't care. It's not like I'm trying to prove some kind of point. I'm just not interested in it. I'm not going out of my way to watch it just because there's nothing that appeals to me with this slapping thing. But if that's the reason why they're doing it, sanctioning it for this one event next year in the summer of 2024, I could sort of live with that because I do think this could be very, very dangerous if people are emulating this. Now, of course, there's, when the UFC says they were running towards regulation and they want to be, there's a little boxing out happening as well. If you get the license to do it and, Joe Schmo doesn't get the license, that's good for them. That's good for the UFC. Now they're the only game in town. So there's obviously a business element to it. But I do think that this is growing. It's a thing. And I think that it's a thing that, could be very, very dangerous. And I still think that California is the gold standard. And I'd rather it be regulated and there have actual officials and medical supervision as opposed to none. So it almost seems like it's something that was inevitable and had to happen, and I'm curious to see what happens after that one event. But that's the, you know, after talking to people and trying to understand how we got to this spot, that was the sense that I got. I don't necessarily think that everyone... Look, Andy Foster, by the way, isn't the only guy in the California State Athletic Commission. Like, he has a very strong say on the matters, but he isn't the only guy. So we have to recognize that as well. And while he is the face of it, and while I think he is the best at what he does, there's other matters at play. And yeah, I'm shocked. I didn't think it would happen. BK, I thought would happen, not this. And Nevada at this point has to regulate BK. I mean, how can you justify against it if it's in California and all these other states? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And it's interesting that they even want it to be outside of Nevada. Like, you have it at the Apex. Like, can you really fill up an arena with something like this? Why do you need for it to be in California? Seems like it's perfect in Las Vegas, but what do I know? All right, them's the questions. In a moment, we're going to be joined by Dave Lovell. Oh, another one that we wanted to talk about on Monday that we didn't have time to talk about was MVP showing up at the PFL event to face off with Cedric Doumbé. I would love this fight. I would love to see this fight. I would be all into this fight. I do think that he inevitably goes to the UFC, and I do think that there was some negotiations happening there. I think the PFL would like to have MVP, but I just don't know if he ends up there. Maybe something happens, and maybe they give him this sweetheart deal. That would be an incredible fight. MVP versus Cedric Doumbé. But I think ultimately that was, playing hard to get type of thing, right? Like openly negotiating. So there's no deal there. I saw some Twitter account say that he had signed with the PFL. That is not true. So let's see what happens. But all I can say is that he has not signed with the PFL. And then if I were to try to read the tea leaves, I would say I think that was a little, playing hard to get, if you get what I'm saying. Let's see if it works. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe they get offended by it all. It's not a bad plan B. I'll tell you that much. I would love to see that fight. I don't know how many other fights there are after that one that would be of interest, but that would be a tremendous one for Doumbé. It would be the perfect next fight for Doumbé. There are some others out there. Pettis would be a fun one, but this one would be incredible. MVP versus Doumbé. Sign me up for that. Do want to let you know that today's program is brought to you by our good friends over at Cash App. Cash App has the tools to make saving easier, and that means you can start building towards your savings goals $1 at a time, but growing those savings is faster with Cash App's roundups and offers, because once you save with Cash App, that money starts growing without you even having to lift a finger. You don't even have to worry about it. Think of it as financial self-care. That's money. That's Cash App. Download Cash App from the App Store or Google Play Store to start saving today. In a matter of moments, we are going to be joined by Dave Lovell, who is the head coach of one Leon Edwards. I was trying to decipher the messaging there, so I'm looking forward to that very much. And then we're going to be joined by the headliners for Karate Combat 43, which, of course, are Benson Henderson and Anthony Pettis. Speaking of this weekend, UFC 296, something special going down. DraftKings Sportsbook is helping you come out on top in this epic bout between Colby Covington and Leon Edwards. What are the lines as we speak right now between Leon and Colby? Who's the favorite, GC? What do we got?
Leon is the favorite. I believe he's around a minus 160. He's actually become a bigger favorite.
Was he always the favorite?
Yeah, but it opened very close. Let me get you the exact line right now, but he is the favorite. Yeah, Leon is the favorite over Colby.
Tony Patty?
Patty is a sizable favorite in that one. Patty right now, minus 310, Tony plus 250, Leon minus 155, Colby plus 130. A lot of people think Colby's going to get it done. Got plus money on him if you want it.
Pantoja Royval?
Pantoja minus 192, Royval plus 160. Around the same price as it was last time.
Wow. Gary Luque?
Gary, the big favorite, minus 345, Luque plus 275.
Wonderboy Shavkat.
Shavkat, big time favorite, minus 650. Wonderboy plus 470.
If you had to pick an H-Dow, who is it?
I mean, I don't know. Tony? Right.
Wow.
Tony? No, probably going with my guy, an Alpharetta man, Cody Durden. Trains right by where I grew up. Is probably going to watch the Milton Eagles tonight in the state championship. My high school playing for the state title, 7A football. So yeah, Cody Durden. I'm riding with the hometown guy.
By the way, I was texting with Casey O'Neill yesterday. She said she was scrubbing through the show to make sure that New York Rick wasn't talking smack about her. I said, there's no smack talk from Rick or GC. We're all in. We've got her
money's
back.
Behind
Everyone's supporting her. So we'll get your picks soon enough, and we'll see. Is there anything on Casey O'Neill?
Oh, yeah, bet on Casey O'Neill. Last week I did.
Okay.
Knew we had to do it.
Love
we
it.
picked against her once. We lost our money. We're not going to do it again.
Absolutely. That's called learning a lesson. Anyway, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code the MMA Hour. New customers get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 only on DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC. With the code the MMA Hour, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino Resorts in Kansas. 21 plus. Age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/MMA for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Yeah. Thank you very much to our good friends over at DraftKings, Cash App as well for their support. Going to be joined by Dave Lovell in a matter of moments, and then Anthony Pettis and Benson Henderson. You may be asking yourself, you keep talking about this Anthony Pettis-Benson Henderson fight. How can you watch this fight on Friday? You can watch this fight by visiting karate.com for viewing details in your region, and or you can catch the free global stream on the official Karate Combat YouTube page. The main event fighters are expected to be in the ring around 10 p.m. Pacific. That's 1 a.m. Eastern time. So that would be on Friday. The day before UFC 296, Thursday, tomorrow, World MMA Awards. Are the lines closed for that, GC? Or is there still some activity for, you guys were talking about me being the underdog. Is there still some activity to be had?
I actually think the lines are closed. You can no longer get it, but you closed as a sizable favorite.
Oh, because I opened up as an H-Dow.
Yeah, I threw a shekel at dog money. I mean, you feel like you kind of had to, right?
Well, you didn't have to. Just, appreciate the support.
Unfortunately, this program not as good of odds.
Yeah, what were we? Were we the biggest dog? Which is crazy.
Yeah, I think we were like a plus 800. No love over here.
It's crazy that we're up against like the Ultimate Fighter and Contender Series and stuff like that. I still think that's a little bit weird.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, I think it was embedded.
Completely different show.
Yeah,
I mean we can't get that's like a show.
Anakin Florian.
I think tough.
I don't think tough up there. Anakin Florian, Morning Combat.
Tough with Connor.
Yeah, I mean I think we opened as good odds, and then we just plummeted. We just plummeted a lot of line movement, no money coming in on us. So
we got the nod over Tough with Connor.
Yeah, I think so. Who are the nominees?
I don't know.
Let's see.
You could watch it, I think, tomorrow night on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, I'll be tuned in. I'll have the champagne on ice for the old MMA hour, but might have to.
2024. Do you go to Vegas for the first time?
I'm praying, man. Something's gone seriously wrong if I don't. Whether it's International Fight Week, whether it's UFC 300, whether it's to accept the award for Programming of the Year for the MMA Hour, something will have gone seriously wrong if I don't.
We got close this year, right? What was it?
International Fight Week, we got incredibly close. I mean, negotiations got to the finish line. I mean, things were booked, and unfortunately, it wasn't seen through.
Were things booked? I mean, Luxor was booked.
Studio,
Oh, right.
Had the studio booked.
So it was all booked.
Yeah, a lot was booked. Next year, though, 2024, we make the debut in Old Sin City.
Beginning of the year, if you had a choice between first trip to England or first trip to Vegas, what are you taking?
England, for sure.
Serious? Really?
Been dying to go to England forever.
Really?
I think I enjoyed
feel like
Manchester
Vegas has
more than
meant
I
a
would
lot to you.
Vegas. I mean, it's fight capital of the world, and I haven't been. As a true fight fan, can I even say I'm a fight fan if I haven't been to the fight capital of the world? All right, the nominees, we were going up against Contender Series and Embedded as well.
Yeah, it's tough.
And Anakin Florian in Morning Combat. Great company to be there, though. Great company to be there.
No tough, huh? I'm surprised about that.
No tough.
Well, let's see.
Fingers crossed. I mean,
congratulations.
Cross the fingers.
No, of course. Congrats to all the nominees. It is always a fun time, and it's amazing. I think that they've done the World MMA Awards. I think this is the 15th year. It's pretty remarkable. Some people thought they wouldn't last, but here they are, surviving and thriving. It's a beautiful thing. Just like UFC 296 is a beautiful thing. What a card this is, guys. What a card this is. Randy Brown against Muslim Salikhov. Martin Boudet against Shamil Gassiev. Andre Touchy-Feely back in action. Always enjoy watching him fight against Lucas Almeida. Tajir Ulanbekov going up against Cody Durden. Cody Durden from?
Georgia.
Covington, Georgia. Do you know where that is?
Yeah, I think that's where he was born, but he's fighting out of ATT Alpharetta, if I'm not mistaken, which is the old hometown.
No way.
Supporting dogs from ATT Alpharetta has worked before in Rafael Sunsao. And, we're going to go back to the well with Cody Durden.
Wow.
Alpharetta. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking
is that close to Atlanta?
Very close, yeah. About 25 minutes up the old highway. Georgia 400. Shout out.
Is it next to Cobb County?
It's close to Cobb County, but it is in Fulton County, which is the county.
Okay. I love Fulton County, of course. Lonzo Menefield against Dustin Jacoby, Casey O'Neill, Ariane Lipsky, Cody Garbrandt against Brian Kelleher, Carol Hossa against Irene Aldana, Josh Emmett against Bryce Mitchell, and then the main card. Oh my God, buckle up. Vicente Luque against Ian Machado Gary, Paddy Pimblett against Tony Ferguson, Shavkat Rakhmonov against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Alexandre Pantoja against Brandon Royval, and the big one for the welterweight title, Colby Covington against Leon Edwards, and of course the man who will be in Leon Edwards' corner, his head coach, the man who has been by his side for all these years, the man who inspired him to get over the hump and knock out Kamaru Usman back in August of 2022, is the head man over at Renegade in Birmingham, England. He's the one and only Dave Lovell. He's kind enough to join us from Las Vegas. There he is, Big Dave. Coach Dave, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Ariel. How are you?
I'm doing well, my friend. How's the technology over there? You don't have your sons by your side to help you out this time?
Yeah, Tim's here. We're actually at the Apex now because Leon's got a lot of media to do. So we're just going to be down here for the next couple of hours. So, I've hooked you up down here. But Tim's just sorted out the technology for us.
What a legend that Tim is. Appreciate him very much for helping us out. Can you give us insight, Coach, into how Leon is doing? I noted on Monday when we spoke to him, he seems so confident now. There's no pressure. There's no politics. There's no campaigning. There's no give me my shot, give me my time. He feels like a champion when you talk to him. It's oozing off of him. Can you speak to that? And am I correct in my assessment?
Yeah, you are. You are definitely 100%, Ariel. We are totally aware of the task in hand. This may be, in many ways, I wouldn't say bigger than the Kamaru fight because he won the title off him to take it, but it's not far from it because we know, the ballyhoo that goes along with it. Obviously, the hype, what Colby brings. But yeah, Leon is secretly confident, and we're looking to do a job on Colby just to, again, even though if you remember in our last conversation, I says when Leon beat Usman the third time in London, for me the greatest thing was he silenced all the haters and the doubters. But obviously there's still a percentage of doubters out there, and I think Leon beating Colby in a good fashion, I think that would definitely put that all under the carpet,
Is there a difference in this Leon Edwards going into this fight in Las Vegas with a title defense under his belt as opposed to the Leon Edwards going into the third fight with Kamaru Usman at home with the pressure of proving that the knockout wasn't a fluke and all this stuff? Like, do you feel a difference between this guy and the guy who fought back in March?
Well, we don't take nothing for granted, Ariel. He's still being looked at as the underdog, isn't he? We're in home. We're in America, which is Colby's territory. We're aware of it, and obviously the Trump following, etc. So we know what we're up against, and we've left nothing to chance. And Leon, he's got like a secret. I've seen this guy. He's like, how can I put it? He's got that secret assassin head on. He knows what he's got to go out there to do to get this victory. Look good doing it. So, yeah, Colby may just be in for a hell of a surprise, Ariel. Trust me.
How much do you get involved in the sort of, the route that he takes? In other words, I asked him on Monday if he was annoyed that Colby, who had been sitting out for 2 years, is getting a title shot when he had to scratch and claw to get a title shot. Did you feel the same way? Were you annoyed? Were you trying to convince the powers that be through management, through whatever, to go a different route? Or are you just the type of coach who says, give me the assignment, I don't care about that nonsense, okay, this is the guy, let's go figure out how to beat him?
Well, it's like this, Ariel. We can only deal with what's in our control, yeah? This is out of our hands, and the powers that be, if they want that fight to happen, they're going to make it happen, regardless of what we think. We just know that we've got a job. If they've got him down as Leon's second contender for his title, then so be it. Colby knows how to sell himself. He's a character. To us, he's a meme. But we need these kind of guys in the game. So obviously, he puts bums on seats. He's Dana White, one of Dana White's top boys, along with Donald Trump's top boys. So yeah, it is what it is, and we just take it as another day at work, and we're not in any way going to get pulled away from the task in hand with all the ballyhoo that's going on the side. So we just got to do what we got to do. It's just another job for us.
Because, as you say, top boys and all that stuff. Do you think the powers that be want Colby to beat Leon?
Yeah, definitely, 100%, mate. 100%, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, he's got the president, well, the ex-president coming to the fight. Colby's really, is he justified to have this position? Well, the connoisseurs of MMA know that he isn't. He's sat out for how long? He's fought how many opponents, and look at the quality of the opponents that he's fought. So is he really justified for it? I could name a few that may be. Can you hear me there, Ariel?
Oh, yeah, we lost you there for a quick second, but now you're back.
Yeah, I was just saying, we know, I could name a few contenders that would be justified for it, but Colby isn't one of them. But we just got to deal with what's in front of us, Ariel.
Yeah. Do you try to feed into that with Leon? Do you try to tell the world is this world that Vegas is against you, America is against you, the ex-president is against you, they don't want you to win? Are those things that you use as motivation with Leon?
Well, yeah, he takes that on board anyway, naturally, regardless. Excuse me. We take that on board, but again, I remind him of it, as part of my job too, to know, listen, son, You've never been given any favors, so never be looking for none. And that's the mindset we've got. We don't look for no favors off nobody, Ariel. You can see through his career, he's not having any favors. So what's going to change now? Now he's the champion. They're still looking to knock him off that pedestal and give it to somebody that they think maybe is more of a marketable kind of guy with Colby with his razzmatazz, etc., etc. But that's the fight game, Ariel, and we just got to do what we've got to do as a team, and Leon as a champion. Yeah.
As Leon's head coach, what concerns you most about the task at hand on Saturday? What concerns you most about Colby?
What concerns me most?
Yeah.
Listen, what concerns me most, if it's a close fight, I don't expect Leon to get any favors. So whether it goes the distance, Leon's going to win this convincingly that the world can see it, like he did with the Kamaru fight in the third fight. If it's a close fight in America, as a weight fighter, you're never going to get no favors. So we're aware of that. So should it go the distance, Leon's got to look very good, win convincingly that the world can see that he's won. But preferably, a stoppage would obviously put an end to all that, wouldn't it? So Leon's going out with a demon-set mind. He's going out with that assassin mind. We're looking to finish Colby. And this is I always imply to my fighters that we never go out looking for the knockout. But if it happens, it's a bonus. But on this, we've slightly changed the rules. And we're going out to put the hurt on Colby early. And what happens from there, we'll see what happens from there, Ariel.
So Leon is a very measured fighter, striker. He takes his time. He doesn't rush things. Is there any concern that he will rush things in order to put the hurt on him and thus stray away?
Yeah, without revealing too much, you're going to see a different Leon Edwards in this fight. He's not going to be that guy that lying back looking to snipe and pick. He's going to bring it to Colby. He's going to match Colby in every department. Whether it's wrestling, we know Colby's supposed to be this wrestler with this top cardio machine. But me as head coach, I set plans way ahead of any of Leon's previous fights. And I always knew Colby was going to creep in whether he was maybe the second challenger, maybe the third. So between fights, don't you fool yourself. I've been onto Leon in a way that maybe I've not been onto him so harshly before about the running issue between camps. Is the running. I needed him. Yeah, he'd be going to the gym, going through his drills and his wrestling jits and the rest of it. But the main theme between his fights now, from the last Kamaru fight in London, he's been putting the miles in on the roads, Ariel, building that engine, building that cardio, keeping the weight in check. So now it's all, this is going to be the payoff for all that. So this cardio thing with Colby, it's what's going to bring? His so-called cardio game, his wrestling game. Let me tell you now, Ariel, Colby is going to be in for a massive shock when it comes to him testing Leon on the cardio aspect and the wrestling aspect, because, he may himself get out-wrestled, and don't take that as with a pinch of salt, Ariel. I'm being deadly serious on this. And as for the cardio, he's going to be in up for a drastic shock. He's going to see a Leon Edwards that maybe 99.9 people have never seen before. And wow. This is the mindset he's got for this fight.
What is your assessment of Colby's striking?
Average. He's average. If you allow him to come forward and dictate the pace, then yeah. But, we've seen when he's on the back foot, he's a totally different fighter. Leon's aware of knowing he's got to hold his ground with Colby. I'm not saying he ain't going to give ground, but he's give ground on his terms. We've got every aspect covered on Colby's style of fighting. Leon's got the advantage in the size reach. We know how we're going to make that pay to the full advantage. And Colby's just in for I'm going to tell you that, Ariel, Colby's going to be in for a damn big shock. Trust me, mate. Trust me.
I look forward to it. I can't wait. I'm just curious. Have you sense any, sometimes someone becomes a champion, they get a big head. Leon doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. But we know you as being the motivational speaker, UFC in August of 2022 in Utah. I mean, I just watched it a couple of days ago. It still gives me chills. Have you ever had to kick him in the behind and say, don't forget about where you came from and what got you here? Have you ever had to have those talks with him because you felt like he was getting too big of a head?
Not at all, Ariel. Every now and again, the boys, because he's now living in maybe, let's say, one of the better parts of Birmingham, or a nice apartment in a nice apartment, which he's entitled to do. He's a champion. He's gone to work, he's got paid, and he's put his money to good uses. But as for reminding him, this kid is grounded, area. He's a salt of the earth kind of guy. And I don't really have to remind him. Like I say, me and the team, we give him a bit of ribbing about obviously moving uptown a little bit. But like I say, it's all part of the game. But trust me for 1 minute, Ariel. This kid he hasn't lost any of his lost that fire. He hasn't he's not lost that, that will to win. Not because he's now maybe financially kind of set. He's now laid off anything. This kid's got greatness to prove, and he's got the necessary tools and the mindset to be great and set his name in the Hall of Fame. And that's our goal from that, because he's the world champion. So all we've got to do now is solidify his greatness, and that's the quest we're on, Ariel.
I'd be remiss if I don't ask you about this, Coach, because obviously there's been a lot of drama going up to this fight, and it hasn't necessarily been between Leon and Colby. As you know, this situation with Ian Gary has taken a life of its own, and everyone has weighed in on it from Leon to Ian. I have not heard you weigh in on it, and it feels very much like a matter that would pertain to you. So could I ask your side of the story? What happened with Ian Gary and Renegade?
Let's put it like this, Ariel. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in England stays in England. We are not going to get carried away by anybody's tactics because they're looking to better their career. Ian Gary, he came to our gym, never fit in. He was doing things that me personally, as the head coach, never agreed with. And I politely asked the kid, in no disrespectful way, well, look, son, you don't fit in here. I think it's time for you to move on. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the end of the story, Ariel. There's been a lot of drama now that's came out about he was chucked out at that gym, this gym. He just came to our gym. I'm not going into too much detail. One or two things, as I say, I seen as head coach, I didn't like. So I just, as I say, wished him all the best with his career and his life, and asked him not to come back to the gym. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the end of it, Ariel.
Okay, and so could I ask, it was your decision, right? Because people have been trying to figure out whose decision. It ultimately came down to you.
Yeah, it came down to me. It came down to me. I didn't want my fighter to be distracted. My fighter's got a big job in hand, and I didn't want his mind having to switch to unnecessary things that I thought would distract him. Maybe he doesn't need this. He doesn't need Ian Gary. Ian Gary needs him. And if he came in with the right attitude and played the game, who's to say? He may have still been there, but it's just, as I say, without going into too much detail, one or two little things happened that me personally never liked, or the coaches never liked, but brought it to my attention. And that's it. I just asked him to leave politely, shook the kid's hands, wished him all the best, and that's the end of the area.
Would you welcome him back in the future?
No.
Okay, that's it.
That's it. He's got his ties. That's it. That's the way it is with me, Ariel. I take you on board if you're a friend. We take you on board, and if I make you a friend, you've got a friend for life. But if you break my trust, if you break my, I wouldn't even say loyalty because I didn't know him long enough to show loyalty, but just his attitude maybe just didn't fit in the gym. Little things, as I say, without going into detail, what happened in the gym. I never liked, and that's the Ariel. I just asked him politely to leave, and that's it. The end of the story.
One last question: when you told him that, did he receive the news well?
Yes, yeah, he did. He did. There was another coach, Ash Begg, at the time, and when I actually told him, and walked away. He then tried to plead his case with Ash Begg, who's the other coach, which then I had to say to Ash, listen, Ash, the decision's been made. I've said what I've had to say. We've got no more conversation with the young man. Please come in and leave it. Ian Gary left, shook our hands, and that was it.
Okay. I appreciate you speaking about this because I know it's been a huge story, but a bit of a distraction as well. Have you felt like it's been a distraction for Leon?
Sorry?
Have you felt like it's been an unnecessary distraction for Leon heading into this fight?
Unnecessary distraction. Leon's not really paid it no mind, to be fair.
Okay.
You know, he's not dwelled on it. It's not like, oh, you know, it's an issue. It's not an issue. I mean, more people have made more of an issue of it than we have actually made an issue of it. And it happened in our gym. You know, and then obviously the stories have come out about him leaving other gyms, etc. And what happens in the kid's life between him and his wife, that's not my concern. His personal life's his personal life. He's got a child, he's got a wife, and I would like to know that what's happened would pull that up because I'm a family man also. And, you know, I would like to know that, you know, him and his wife has broken up through this. But at the end of the day, let's put it like this, Ariel. He's made his nest. He's made his nest. He's going to lie in it now. So that's the way it is.
When Leon was trying to get a title shot all those years and he was frustrated and it was Kamaru and Colby and all these guys at the top, I remember speaking to Colby and he would refer to Leon as Leon Scott. He would be very dismissive of him, that he wasn't on his level and whatnot. Yeah. And I'm wondering if there's any symbolism here for you and the team. Leon's at the top of the mountain. Colby's the one that had to chase him now. You could be the one to end his title shots. He doesn't get another title shot after. He doesn't get another chance after this one. All those years when you heard him belittle and refer to Leon as Leon Scott, not even refer to him as his real name, have you guys kept that inside here? And are you hoping that, you know, you're able to prove the point once and for all who's the better man on Saturday? Is this something you've tapped into as well?
You know what, Ariel, like I say, we can only deal with what's within our powers to deal with. What's out of our powers, it's just going to play out that way. He was very dismissive of Leon, but now, obviously, he's somehow got a third title shot, which everybody knows he's not really entitled to. But it's happened, it's here. And we just got to deal with the task in hand. But yeah, you know, I think after this, Colby's attitude towards Leon will be totally different because this is his third bite of the cherry, yeah? Which he never really, and he knows realistically, this is his last chance of being a world champion. You know, we're aware of this. Leon's aware of this. So he's going to bring everything he's got. He's going to throw it. He's going to go hell for leather. He's going to go in there and give it everything he's got. So we're prepared in every aspect for it, mindset-wise, physical-wise. We've got every base covered. And I think Colby will put some respect on Leon's name after Saturday because he'll have no option but to, because either he gets knocked out or he gets unanimous on points, sail off into the wind, or whether he wants to then stay in and fight on to whatever, you know, to justify his career or whatever he thinks he needs to fulfill in the tail end of his career, then, you know, that's his problem, not ours. But after Saturday night, I think Mr. Covington is going to have to put some respect on Mr. Edwards' name.
I love it. Last question for you, Coach. And again, thank you for the time on a busy week for you guys. When you think about the fight, how do you think it goes down? How do you think it plays out?
Personally, I think Leon is going to get him. Is going to stop him round 3, round 4, possibly round 5. Because we've drawn out a plan, a 3-set, maybe a 4-set plan for how the fight may go. But like I say, for me, I would like to see Leon stop him. We've set some plans for that to happen. If it doesn't, then Leon Edwards win unanimously on points.
Can't wait for it, Coach. What a time for Birmingham sports, huh? Aston Villa wins over Arsenal and Man City, and now it's your boys' time. It's a great time to be from Birmingham.
Yeah, Villa's making a lot of noise. Birmingham's making a lot of noise right now. So Leon's just going to play his part Saturday night, and God willing, we come away with the victory and leave them doubters, scratching their head saying, there you go, he's done it again.
I love it. I can't wait for it. Best of luck to you, Coach. Thank you so much for the time. I wish you guys nothing but the best.
Thank you for having me, Ariel.
Pleasure.
Speak to
there
you
he
soon,
is, the great, yes, sir, the great Coach Dave Lovell of Renegade in Birmingham. And thank you to Tim Simpson, who, of course, is the manager for one Leon Edwards, for helping to set him up with the technology over there at the Apex in Las Vegas. Oh, I can't wait for it. Leon going to out-wrestle Colby Covington? Sheesh. Are there any prop bets on Leon Edwards' takedowns? Come on. Imagine if Leon shoots for more takedowns than Colby Covington. Gosh, what a fight. What a card. What a card. Those 5 fights, just a little something for everyone. Oh, man. Ian Gary, Vicente Luque, Ferguson Pimblett, Shavkat, Steven Tom, Pantoja, Liam. I mean, that is great stuff. Is that not great stuff? It's great stuff. Watch party on Saturday night.
Of course. I mean, it might be the biggest watch party of the year.
Huge.
Lot planned.
So.
Lot planned. Lot planned.
What do you mean lot planned?
Yeah, we just got a lot planned, man. It's going to be exciting stuff.
Wow. What do you got? What do you got? Or
maybe with some rare cards. I mean, we're going to get festive with it. We got special opens. We got special transitions. I mean, we're emptying the clip. Last one of the year. Last one of the year, man.
Transitions. Man, I tell you, these watch parties sometimes get more TLC than this show.
I mean, what do you see this thing we got on Saturday?
Are we going to have a split screen for Bam Rodriguez against Sonny Edwards, or... Nothing? No? That's a good fight, Flyweight unification bout.
Listen, man. It's a big one on Saturday. We're going to need to be locked in. All eyes on Las Vegas. 296.
Yeah, it's a good one. Card of the year? Someone was asking me card of the year.
Listen, the fights haven't happened yet. We can't say that. Yeah. There's potential,
on paper,
though.
There's
potential.
That's right.
There's potential. We just got to see how the fights play out.
I mean, after Jake wins on Friday, the card will be like,
Forgot about that. Forgot about that.
What are you talking about? What's this subtle hate? I mean,
what's the hate?
Putting food on the table. Putting food on the table.
I just was commending Frank on making a good point about Jake Paul.
I'm looking forward to it. I saw a quote here from DAZN: to go from Disney Channel to world champion in less than 6 years. That is why I'm here. Jake Paul, speaking on his story being potentially the wildest in sports history. Gonna fight for the belt. Well, he already is a champion, no? I thought he was a champion. What was that belt? When was that? Last year we were talking about that. Was that last year? Holy smokes. When we had the back and forth?
The MVP
during
belt?
the Utah card. That was last year. Man, time is flying. The Bohashinian New York Rick haircut episode, that was a year and a half ago. You're telling me that was a year and a half ago. That's crazy, right? Yes. It was August of 22.
Wow.
That is crazy. Year and a half ago. That was a great week. We had MJF on the show. We had Action Bronson. And then remember we went to
out to Arthur Ashe. Shout out.
AEW. Oh, that was great. Those were the days. Well, in a matter of moments. What was that?
No, I was saying those were the days. Yeah, no, those were the days. Might have been a little leaking over. We're setting up the Benson and Anthony Pettis.
Okay. All right, I can't wait for this. In a matter of moments, in seconds, my friends, we're going to have two of the greatest of all time joining us. The sun is setting in front of me here. I don't know if my lighting is changing at all, but it's a beautiful sunset.
Should I light the
Thank
candle?
you, Frank. No, not yet.
All right.
More like 5:30, so I don't know if we'll be on the air. We'll see. I'll let you know if the sun officially sets here in Montreal. But we'll go back to Las Vegas, my friends, because we have two of the greatest of all time. Surefire Hall of Famers, champions, some have referred to them as former foes or maybe even frenemies. They have fought twice before. In 2010, 13 years ago, almost exactly 13 years to the day. December 16th will be exactly 13 years to the day. WEC 53, the final fight, the final event, the final round, the final minute of the final WEC card. One of the great moments in the history of the sport. Super close fight. And then, of course, they fought again in 2013. On Friday, the night before UFC 296 at Karate Combat 43 at the World Market Expo Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. It will be, for the third time, Anthony Showtime Pettis against Benson Smooth Henderson at 170 pounds, 5 rounds. Like I said earlier, the Karate Combat rules, trips and throws are okay. No takedowns, 4-ounce MMA gloves. They're running it back for the third time. And how about this? We've done face-to-faces before. Either I'm in the middle and they're on the sides of me, or there's 3 boxes. This time it's 2 boxes. They're sitting together in Las Vegas. I hope there's a lot of security there just in case things get a little bit crazy. Let's go to Vegas now and say hello to Anthony Pettis. What? This is too for you guys look like your best buds are going on vacation together. You don't look like guys fighting each other. You look too happy. Hello guys, how are you?
One other person in the room right now. One other person.
Good, man.
Okay.
How you doing, Ariel?
It's good to see you guys. So if things get a little bit crazy, someone's there to break this up?
Yeah, he's here, man. One guy.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want that blood on my hands. I don't want any problems. It is wonderful to see you guys, and this is such a cool opportunity to talk to both of you, considering your history. Can I start with you, Benson? Because I remember you retiring not that long ago from MMA. Why are you coming back to partake in this opportunity, in this promotion, in this different kind of sport against your old foe, Anthony Pettis? Why are you doing this?
Well, I'm a competition junkie. I love competition. I retired from MMA, but I love to compete. I went and did a couple of jiu-jitsu things, went and did a college wrestling tournament. I just love to compete, and I'm able to do a lot more of these, have some fun. They emailed me about getting my hands on this guy again. I was like, you guys give me a chance to get my hands on Anthony Pettis again? I was like, oh, man, I pay you guys money for that. So I'm excited to compete against him again.
For you, Anthony, you're 2-0 against Benson, and obviously you've kind of enjoyed like this free agent nomadic life post UFC where you're getting to try all these fun different things. Why say yes to this opportunity in this particular fight?
I grew up doing traditional martial arts. My background, when I was 5 years old, I started with point sparring, and that's why I kind of transitioned to mixed martial arts. So when this opportunity came up, it's like going back to my roots, and I get to recoup all them tournament fees I paid for as a kid, man.
I like that. That makes a lot of sense. So when you're preparing for this, Benson, what are you doing? Like, obviously, you're so good at jiu-jitsu. You've been doing MMA for so long. Are you actually training with these rules? With the, are you wearing the pants? Are you doing the whole thing, or is this your normal training camp?
Pretty much normal training camp, but yeah, you have to be smart. You have to be very rule specific. Trying to take away no elbows and no thigh kicks. You can kick to the calf and no thigh kicks. So you've been doing that for the past 5 weeks specifically. Okay.
How aware, Anthony, are you of Karate Combat, of what they've been doing? Because you've been kind of out there looking at different opportunities, and different opportunities are probably coming your way. This is their 43rd event. They're gaining some steam. They've got GSP working with them. Boss Rutan, Wonder Boy has popped in as an ambassador of sorts. Because of your background in point fighting and whatnot, is this a product that you have been watching?
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I still teach traditional martial arts in Milwaukee. I got 3 gyms out there that we still teach, point sparring style fighting. And the reason why MMA got so big for Milwaukee is because once the kid turned 15 years old, there was no place to compete at. So when Karate Combat came, I'm like, man, this is perfect for my businesses, perfect for my gyms, for a competition level. For me, like, the only difference is the pit. I've never fought in the pit in this thing. It looks dope, and the production looks dope. But that's the only difference between all of this. Mixed martial arts. Obviously the low kicks, you take away that. This guy's a master at these calf kicks. I'm gonna be ready for it.
Benson, I read a quote, and I wanted to know if it was actually legit. Like, obviously you have the 2 losses, and one of them was well documented. We've talked about the first one a gazillion times. But I heard you say that it still haunts you that you've lost to Anthony twice. Is that legit? Like, is that a real word that you would use to describe your relationship with Anthony? Does it haunt you that you lost to this guy?
Well, I think any real competitor, anybody who has competition at the highest levels, Anthony, can say, anytime you lose, it's haunting to me. Every single of my losses. I can go back to freaking my college days, losing in the national semifinals to make the finals for my senior year in wrestling. Like they all haunt me for sure. Losing Anthony twice. Who else is there? I lost to Chandler twice. Those are haunting. I've lost to Jackson, Primus, all those. I can go down the list. Everyone I lost to, and they all. The day I'll probably think about those losses. Oh, I wish I could have those back. Give me another chance. So it is what it is. That's what goes to being a competitor.
And just following up on that, Benson, is this one that you never thought you would get a chance to run back and to avenge? In other words, like, did this kind of come out of the blue and was a real pleasant surprise when you got the opportunity?
Oh, for sure. Definitely came out of the blue from out of nowhere. I didn't expect anything like that. They contacted my guys, and I was like, oh, this, okay, it's cool. Let's do it. Let's go. No problem. But if I ever get a chance to compete against any of the guys I lost to, whether it's pickleball or table tennis or chess or karate combat, I'm going to jump at the chance.
How would you have described this training camp, Anthony? I saw one clip that they posted on the Karate Combat social media. I think it was on Twitter. It might have been on both. And you were doing the kicks and stuff. And of course, like, you're synonymous with the kicks. But I'm wondering if it feels like a bit of a throwback training camp for you because you've gone to tap into some of those things that you did growing up and just kind of, put the wrestling and the grappling and all that stuff to the side.
Yeah, I actually haven't been grappling and wrestling a lot. All last year, I've been focused on boxing. So, I was getting ready for a boxing fight when this opportunity came up, and it just lined up perfectly. I wasn't going to fight till February. Had December open. I was in shape, ready to go. Obviously, fighting Ben and fighting in my new hometown, Las Vegas. I'm like, yeah, I had to do it.
What were you going to do, or what are you planning on doing in February?
Boxing. I got a boxing match coming up.
Okay. Is that announced?
Not announced yet, no. But yeah,
okay, this is a perfect place to announce it. Go ahead, the floor is yours.
Yeah. I'm gonna be focusing on boxing next year. I got a lot of opportunities coming up in the boxing world, and February was my first one. I want to fight some real boxers, and I've been sparring some top level guys out here in Vegas. Caleb Plant being one of them. I just sparred Lara for Ben. He's a southpaw. Lara's one of the best southpaws when it comes. That was the closest Canelo got to losing a fight, and I've been going with him in his camp. He's fighting Danny Garcia, so yeah, I just been focused on boxing solely right now.
Wow. So are you officially done with MMA?
Not officially done with MMA. I'm just, I fell in love with the training camps of boxing. I turned my training camps more into a boxing camp, and I met a coach here, Jorge Capatillo. One of the good coaches. Trains Tyson Fury, Andy Ruiz. A lot of top level Mexican guys too as well. But I fell in love with that process, and I live out here in Vegas. I've just been focused solely in on the boxing, man. And then when I got this opportunity, I still teach, traditional martial arts. So the kicks are always going to be with me. So just, changing the game plan, changing, the guy I'm fighting, and that's how I went down with it.
And who's your opponent in February?
I can't announce that yet because it's not official.
Okay.
So we're waiting for contract.
Okay, fair enough. I try. Benson, we're seeing a lot of the MMA greats transition over into boxing. Are you interested in doing this as well?
I'd give it a shot. Yeah, for sure. I'd be down for boxing. I'm still the wrestler in me, still loves the grappling, doing ADXC number 2 coming up pretty soon. So I'm more the grappling side, but boxing for sure. I'd love to have a couple Muay Thai fights. I want to go over to to Thailand, have a couple legit Muay Thai fights. I would love that. I want to have a couple boxing fights. I want to have a couple Muay Thai fights, have a couple more karate combat fights. I'd love to have experience the true width of actual mixed martial arts, all of it, all the martial arts. I'd love to have a couple of them all.
Are you officially done with MMA, Benson?
Yeah, I'm done with MMA. It's my wife's turn with MMA. I'll let her take over. Her training still supersedes mine. She takes the number one precedence. So her training camps, her PT, her strength conditioning takes higher priority over mine. But then so I gotta go pick up the kids from chess practice. I gotta take them to school, bring them home, and all that stuff. And then her practices take precedence over mine. And then when I can, I train a little bit and I have some fun.
How would you describe, Benson, your relationship with Anthony? Like, just to break the fourth wall, is this awkward for you to be sitting so close to him doing this?
We've been doing this long enough, man. You get in the elevator and like your opponent's in the elevator with you going up to 20 floors. It's not that big a deal. Some guys don't have a hard time with it. Some of the young guys, they feel they need to compete on a more emotional side, and they get mad at their opponents and this and that. Like, I can be my best buds. I'm getting my best buds in practice and sparring some of the worst beatings of their life. It's all good. No worries.
Same.
You feel the same way, Anthony?
Yeah, man. I mean, I spar my little brother, and we fucking whoop each other's ass. So it's like, fighting sitting next to this guy, no matter what, we're gonna go out there and do what we're supposed to do on Friday night. Right now, we're just, we're two athletes trying to be the best.
But considering, Anthony, like your relationship with him, and you'll always be tied together because of the historic nature of the series of fights that you guys had. Like, when you would see him around, I'm sure you've seen him at events. Do you have the kind of relationship where you're saying hello, or are you avoiding each other?
Oh, man, I have this guy's phone number, bro. I texted him when we got this opportunity. I'm like, yo, are we doing this? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So, I mean, it's competition, Like, I respect everything he's done in this sport, bro. Like, a guy like this has been fighting for this long. It's kind of like myself. We're kind of some OGs now. It's weird to say that, but we're kind of the OGs of the sport. And, you got to respect that.
And I'm assuming you feel the same way, Benson.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. We're very young.
Is it kind of hard to I don't know, process or digest the fact that you are OGs now? I'll ask you, but you're the one who's officially done with MMA. I see a bit of the white hair over here. The young guys are probably calling you sir and whatnot. I remember your debut for WEC. It doesn't feel that long ago, but now you're the elder statesman. Is that something hard to come to terms with?
I wouldn't say it's hard to come to terms with. If it happened like on a light switch from day one to day, the next day, all of a sudden everything changed. But it's a gradual process. You become you're a new guy, then you become a veteran. You've been around, done it for a while, then you become, it's a gradual. It happens over time. So it's something you're allowed to get used to as it happens.
Do you have a lot of people, Anthony, who are coming up to you now and asking for advice on kind of navigating the post UFC waters? Because I feel like you've done it better than most, and you've been able to pick and choose these fun assignments, for lack of a better word. Are a lot of people asking your advice on all of this?
Yeah, for sure, man. A lot of guys that are going to free agency, reach out, even to my little brother, and they, ask him like, how did it go and how was the transition over? The UFC controls the narrative, man. Like they've done a great job at, building what they've built so far. It's crazy to see because I got younger fighters that are in a management company that would pass up opportunities to get a shot at the UFC. So I mean, it's what they've done in that world. Like, they kind of control the narrative, and it is what it is on that side. But when I left the UFC, man, again, I was scared too. I didn't know what was going to happen. I identified so much as a UFC fighter, a UFC champion. It took a couple of years, honestly, before I was like, all right, now I'm a free agent. I can do, whatever I want. Even when I signed with the PFL, everybody's like, oh, UFC guys don't compete with the PFL guys. So it's like trying to lose those three letters before your name it's a hard thing to do. And I kind of stopped thinking about that now, man. Like I've done what I did in the WEC. I've done what I did in the UFC. This chapter of my career, man, I'm my own boss. I can decide what fights I want to take. And, it feels good to be here.
Do you have any ties with the PFL anymore? Because even when I spoke to Don Davis, he mentioned you. Cedric Doumbé has mentioned you. Is there any chance of you going back to the PFL next year?
Yeah, I do have ties with PFL. So I'm supposed to be on their pay-per-view card. So if I do mixed martial arts again, it will be on the PFL pay-per-view card. No more tournaments, though. That tournament format, not for me. That tournament format's the hardest. Man, that's the hardest competition ever, man. For no lie, like you got to make weight, every 4 weeks. And then I was doing it when they had the bubble. So like, we had probably like 2 weeks home, and then we go back in the bubble and then fight again. So yeah, no more tournaments for me.
Do you have any interest in this Doumbé fight? Do you know who he is?
1,000,000%. Yeah, I was. Yeah, of course, man. I was on that. He said my name, but I've been a fan since the kick. I mean, I watch all striking. I watch boxing, kickboxing, MMA. He's done amazing stuff over there, and he's still new in the mixed martial arts world. We got to see see him fight a couple other guys and see how good he really is. But dude's talented, man. Those are the kind of fights that get me excited to do a training camp.
Okay, and for both of you, is this a one-off with Karate Combat, or did you sign a multiple fight deal, Benson?
For me, it was a one fight deal.
Okay.
Same.
But it sounded, Benson, like
definitely open.
Okay. So it sounds like both of you would be open to doing this again, right? Because I heard Benson say that this is something that you kind of like and could foresee yourself doing more than once.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I think the rule set for karate combat is pretty amazing. It is, for the casual fan, UFC, MMA fan who doesn't like the grappling, the wrestling, and the guy always yells, stand back up, stand back up. This is literally the rule set for you guys. There's no grappling on the ground. There's some ground and pound for 5 seconds, and they stand you back up, and then you get to see some super cool spinny stuff, knockouts and whatnot. So like this is the rule set for the casual fan who loves just excitement, nonstop action, 3-minute short rounds. So me being a part of this rule set, I think it's great. I think it's awesome.
By the way, Anthony, how's the promotion going? How's that life treating you?
Oh man, it's going great, bro. I just had APFC in Milwaukee, and we killed it, bro. That was one of my best shows. Financially, we did the best show we've done financially, but just as far as how smooth the production went, I'm figuring it out. You know, it's my 9th show. You know, we'll probably do another 10 to 12 next year, but I'm enjoying the process, man, and giving these guys a platform. You know, like a bunch of my guys got signed to PFL. We got 2 UFC guys. We had 2 Bellator guys, but now in the PFL. So, you know, it's cool to have that platform to give these guys, you know, the exposure to get to that next level.
I love it. By the way, I've done these face-to-faces a bunch. This is the nicest one we've ever done. Like, can you, Benson, can you insult him or something? Can you say something? Like, this is too friendly. What is going on? Can you say something about him? I mean, some tension.
But would you expect anything different between us, though?
Yeah.
No,
this is what
absolutely
you
not.
from us, right? Yeah.
No, I love it. I love it.
Right? Yeah, I mean, we're both coming from a traditional martial art background, bro. It's like we never fought with the animosity. I mean, only a couple fights where I was like angry at the guy that I fought. But usually, man, it's a competition, you know? Like, you know, on Friday night, me and him are gonna get our hands at each other, and it'd be a totally different story. And then right afterwards, we'll go be friends again.
I love it. Well, you guys are the best MMA combat sports has to offer. I have so much love and respect for you both. It's great to see you back. And it's great to see you guys doing it one more time, at least one more time. Maybe we get a fourth if things go differently for Benson on Friday. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it. Fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough. Good luck to you guys. Thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it.
No, thank you, Ariel.
Hey, make sure everybody tunes in live on Facebook. I mean, YouTube, free. You know, guys, you get to see us for free on YouTube. Make sure you guys tune into that. We're also going to be on UFC Fight Pass, so make sure you guys are watching UFC Fight Pass. They just signed a deal with them as well, so make sure everybody's tuning in. If you're in Vegas, get the tickets. We're going to put on a show.
You guys don't want to miss it.
I love it. Look at these promoters. I love that shit. Well done, guys. Well done. Thank you very much for that. And yes, I just got the word here that UFC Fight Pass will be airing it, and that is very exciting. I also said that karate.com is a place where you can get viewing details in your region, and you can catch the free global stream on the official Karate Combat YouTube page. Main event is supposed to go down at around 1 a.m. Eastern. George St. Pierre, Bas Rutten involved in the broadcast. Smilin' Sam Alvey taking on the New England Cartel's own Ross Levine, Brooklyn-born, now fighting out of Rhode Island in the inaugural Karate Combat World Heavyweight Championship bout. That's all going on this Friday. Guys, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it, and good luck to you.
Thank you, bro.
Ariel.
All right, there he is, Anthony Pettis, Benson Henderson. There they are, I should say. Really cool stuff to see them together. I didn't realize that they were still sitting there, by the way. I was just kind of going on and on, waxing poetic.
We weren't sure.
That kind of, that kind of warmed my heart. Can I see that poster again? Yeah, there it is. That's a nice looking poster. Karate Combat 43, Las Vegas, World Market Expo Center. Do they have lines for Karate Combat?
Not that I've seen, no.
No. All right. I wonder who would be the favorite in that one. I saw that one clip of Pettis practicing the kicks. It's getting very dark in this room. I should probably turn on the lights. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Might be that time. Not quite yet. We'll go to the picks now, and then maybe we'll light the candles before we go. All right. So that's the story as far as Karate Combat is concerned. Now let us put 296 officially on notice. Let us get the picks from the Parlay Boys. Shout out to DraftKings already. I did the ad read, so we're good there. Let's get right to it. No time to waste. What do you say? Friends? There they are. All right, guys. What do we got? Who's first?
Well, no time to waste. Juliana Pena already given us her pick. Alexandre Pantoja, the defending flyweight champion, is who she is going to go with. Let me throw the rest of the names here into the old randomizer. Still on the sidelines. Can't get it on the screen soon enough. We will have it back. Frank.
Yep.
We'll be first. I'll go second. Rick is third.
All right.
Hell yes.
What are we thinking, Frankie?
I
think I know what you're thinking.
What, are you always in my head here? I don't get it. Because what I'm going to do is go to the main card, go to the main event, and I'm going to get some popcorn, watch it on the watch party, watch the fight go over 2.5 rounds.
Bang. I like that one.
Love it.
Frank. Surprised we didn't go Jake Paul. I thought that was going to be the whole the payoff there. I thought you were going to go main event, main card, Jake Paul.
You know, this is a pay-per-view preview show. I was trying to stay in line with the theme of the show. We know Jake's going to win. It's just easy money.
Okay.
By the way, what are the odds?
Jake's sitting around a minus 650 against Andre August.
Really? Is it just 650, huh?
You thought it'd be more.
I thought it would be more. I mean, everyone's talking about Andre August like he's the guy who, mows my lawn.
Yeah.
No respect for Andre.
Minus 500
By the way,
on one book.
I'm not trying to build up this fight into something that it isn't, but this might be the most pressure ever on Jake Paul's shoulders. You can't lose. If you lose to Tommy Fury, if you lose to Anderson Silva, if you lose to Nate Diaz, there is a comeback. You lose to Andre August, it's over. It's done.
What's this
Agreed?
lose thing you're talking about?
Yeah.
You cannot come back from this. You can't.
Disagree.
You can't even have the KSI fight. You can't even have it. And I don't even think the KSI fight's ever happening, by the way. Can't have it.
Couldn't disagree
Can't
more.
lose to a guy that no one's heard of.
Nobody cares about Jake Paul's path through boxing. Nobody cares about his record. He thinks that
this
people
is my
do,
point.
or him
you
and
can't even do the influencer fights anymore.
Of course,
you can't even do the influencer
because his record doesn't matter. Losing doesn't matter. Losing does not matter for Jake Paul. He lost to Tommy Fury. It did nothing. It changed nothing.
That's different.
Nothing
as a pro
has
fighter.
changed.
He dropped him.
He's a pro fighter. First of all, Jake Paul and his team are the number one people pushing the narrative that this guy's a pro fighter. This guy's the toughest test because he's a pro fighter. Nobody cares about that. Nobody. That's why nobody's going to watch this. Like the interest in this is quite low. And yeah, he's Teflon. This will not matter if he loses.
And you're trying to keep a job here, What the hell?
You're going to. That's my point.
I mean, the job is secure.
This is always going to. There is always going to be Jake Paul fights as long as he wants to fight. This will not.
Do you feel this fight has similar buzz as previous Jake Paul fights?
Of course not. But they know that.
No, they know that. It's in a smaller arena. This is set up to be a smaller fight.
They're not claiming it's as big as Anderson or Nate. No one's claiming that. That would be silly. This is just him proving that I'm taking the necessary steps to get to the big boxing match for the big world title. And that's fine. I'm just saying you lose this fight, the ramifications are different than losing the Tommy Fury fight. That's all.
Disagree.
Well, completely. Then you can never even have any argument to have a world title fight.
And I by the way, I don't think the KSI fight ever happened. I see the tweets this week. I don't think it ever happened. I think the egos are at a point now where they're just no one's going to give in. I really don't think it happens. It's such a shame. What are we talking about? 5 pounds? What is this?
Let's do the exercise quickly. Jake Paul loses to Andre August on Saturday. Nate Diaz says, I want to box Jake Paul again. Everybody goes, nah, you lost to Andre August. I don't want to watch it. I don't think so.
I think
KSI says, let's box. I don't think so. No, there's no way. By the way, I said this about Tommy Fury. I said this about Jake Paul is not a wins and losses boxer. He does not need to win this fight. It would be great, and I think it would help him a ton. But I don't think it's required.
Detrimental.
We'll see.
All right.
I mean, I think we all think he'll win, though. But yeah.
I know, but
all right, moving on to
he gets knocked out by this guy, it's over. Okay.
See, now that's a little. The knockout could. The knockout could.
If he gets knocked out by this dude,
slightly,
it is over. It
I
is
don't
over.
think so, but we'll see.
He says he's in it for a world title. If he gets knocked out by Andre August, the world title.
But he says that.
It's
but like,
over.
is anybody who watches Jake Paul going, I want to see Jake Paul fight for a world title? No, nobody but Jake Paul cares about that.
Frank is.
And can I just say one thing? I just went to, and this is a small sample.
You're
size, but I just
slandering your
went to
boy
speak to,
right
like,
now.
I know, this
Frankie.
whole lose
No
thing.
defense.
I just went to speak to about, I don't know, a group of like 140 kids. And, you know, I talked about my career and whatnot. I didn't get a single question about UFC 296. I didn't get a single question about the only questions, I swear, that were specific to fighting, that were about fighting, were about Jake Paul, KSI, will they fight? Is he winning this weekend? Dylan Dennis, Logan Paul. That was it. That was it.
Wait.
No one asked me about Leon Edwards. No one asked me about Colby. And I'm talking to 10th and 11th graders. No one asked me about anything MMA related. Maybe there was a Connor question here, a 300 question there, a Dana White question here. But the amount of Jake Paul, Logan Paul, Dylan Dennis, KSI questions that I got were, 10x. So, sometimes.
But you said Dylan Dennis, he lost. Nobody should care about him anymore.
No. It was like, how bad is he? Or, like what, stuff like that. Stuff like that. Even the 10th graders are getting shots in.
Honestly, I truly believe that this is what I'm saying. Like these kids, the young generation will always care about these guys. It is a renewable resource. They are there. They are extremely hardcore for these personalities. And I think Jake Paul is Teflon in a good way. Like, I'm not saying this to denigrate him. I'm saying this to say, like, he is rock solid in terms of what he's built. People will tune in.
What else we got?
All right.
Whose turn is it?
It's me. My turn. Back to UFC 296 here. I will be taking the major prospect, undefeated, 17-0, 17 wins, via finish, Shavkat Rakhmonov, minus 650. Gets to plus 119 on the old parlay here. And that brings us to Rick to close us out. Need a winner. Need to close out the year with a winner.
Yeah, easy. Casey O'Neill, lock it in.
There it is.
Did you hear what I said earlier? Did you hear what I said earlier?
I heard what you said.
Yeah.
Rewind the tape.
She literally
go back to the.
She said, "I'm watching.
Go back to,
I'm watching to see if New York Rick talk any side. We need to clip this off and send
Casey.
it to her."
We can cut this off. Go back to the last time she fought. What was my Parlay Boys pick?
Yes, it was Casey O'Neill.
Casey O'Neill. So, Casey, it's on you now. I haven't forgotten. I'm picking her.
Didn't he pick her last time when she?
I picked her last time.
Loss?
It's on Casey now.
I think you did, but I think she remembers. I think she remembers the time 2 times ago.
See, but that was something else.
By the way, this is my
life.
They remember the negative, and this is the life.
Well, we're turning it around. Casey's picking up the dub, taking the Parlay Boys home, and getting back on track.
That gets us to plus 233. That sounds nice. Close out the year. Plus 233. That's a nice way to close it out.
All right, what else we got?
Yeah, my picks. I got a lot of action this weekend. A lot of action. Close it out. Love ending the year on a pay-per-view. Hopefully a winning week. Back-to-back losing weeks. Haven't had that since June. And I'm going to go ahead and say we're not going to close the year out with 3 straight losing weeks. And the only way to do that is have a winning week this weekend. I'll start off Randy Brown, Rude Boy. Despite being named Rude Boy, very nice guy when he came here in studio. 6 years younger in this matchup, 4 inches taller, 8 inches of reach. Plus, he's just a really solid fighter, man. 10-4 in his last 14, only losing to top-level guys, Bilals, JDMs of the world. I like him to get this one done. We keep it rolling. Heavyweight. What doesn't say confidence like a heavyweight debutante in the UFC early on the prelims, and that's exactly what you're getting with Shamil Gaziev. I just haven't been overly impressed with Martin Buday in the UFC. Don't love his finishing abilities at the heavyweight division, and I like Gaziev. I think he holds a lot of power in his hands, got a nice rear naked. Was very tired after he got his rear naked on the Contender Series, but at dog odds, and I think he has the high finishing upside. I'm going to go with him as a dog. Let's keep it rolling. Andre Touchy-Fili and Lucas Almeida. I'm going to take the under. Not because of Feely, he goes to a lot of decisions, but because of Almeida, 16 fights, only one has gone to a decision, including 9 career first-round finishes, win or lose, like this one, to go under. Next up, touched on it earlier, ATT Alpharetta, Cody Durden.
Oh, yeah.
According to Jed Meshew, that is where he trains. I'm going to take his word for it. Just down the road from where I grew up. Either way, I know he fights out of the beautiful state of Georgia, so I got to support. You don't get this opportunity too often, a guy out of Georgia, especially the Atlanta area, so I got to support when I got the opportunities. Next up, King Casey O'Neill. I am supporting.
Yeah.
I mean, we went against her once, and we lost. We're not going to do it again. A.K. Lee letting me know that rude boy is a Jamaican term. Thanks,
yes.
A.K. Thanks for clearing that up, man. It was just a play on words of him being a nice guy.
Yes.
But, kind of got thrown off there. Sorry about that, guys. We keep it rolling. Cody Garbrandt, Brian Kelleher. I like the ability for both of these guys to get finished. Cody Garbrandt still not fully trusting in his chin. He has been knocked out 4 times. And Kelleher, 5 of his 7 losses have come by way of finish. Kelleher, 15 UFC fights, 10 not going to a decision. Garbrandt, 13, 9 not going to a decision. Let's move to the main card. One last stand, boys.
Oh, yeah.
One last stand. Tony Ferguson, plus 210. A little sprinkle. The scenes that will erupt from T-Mobile Arena if he is able to pull this off. Training with Goggins been confirmed. Goggins in the corner. I don't know if that's going to make a difference, but watched a little piece with him earlier today, and it looks like he means business. I mean, one last shot. This is it. If he doesn't get it done here, I'd like to see him lay the gloves down. But I'm going with him. He looked great in that first round. People forget he won the first round against Chandler, too. Let's get it done in the first round here.
Where's that picture of Patty from with the hair like that?
UFC.com. Shout out. Great website.
Yeah.
Let's keep it rolling. Co-main event. I hate to do it. I might be cursed because he was just on the show, but we know that I got the future in on the man. Once many men hits, I won't regret this. Alexandre Pantoja. And still going to be an electric fight. Going to be a very exciting fight. We saw this one happen 2 years ago. Alexandre Pantoja got his hand raised there. And it happened in the second round. So for that reason, I'm going to try to thread the needle. I'm going to also take the under 2.5. Raw Dog Royval. What can you say about him other than he is complete electricity once he steps in the octagon? 8 of his last 9 have gone under the 2.5, and Pantoja is willing to engage in a fight like that. 5 of his last 9 have gone under 2.5, and we saw the fight, how it played out last time. A second-round finish. Could be anybody's game, but I am going to go with the under 2.5 to the main event. I'm going to go with Leon Rocky Edwards. And still to defend the takedowns enough to keep it standing. And maybe, according to Dave Lovell, out-wrestle Colby Covington. Is that the rumors going around? I was very impressed the last time out against Kamaru Usman, getting the point taken and still getting the decision victory. I thought he looked good. Striking looked great. Precision striker. If Colby's going to do it, the way is obviously to just be unrelenting. Kamaru Usman talked about it. He's just going to go for takedowns and not stop until he gets them. But I think Leon's going to be able to negate them enough, keep it standing, and I think he does outclass him on the feet. I think it's going to be a close fight. I think it's going to be an exciting fight, and I do think it's going to be a fight that goes to the decision. Both these guys incredibly tough, so I will be taking the over 4.5 as well. When does threading the needle, taking a money line and a over-under go wrong? And I'm doing it in the main and co-main. That's how you close out the year. Leon never been finished. 10 of his last 13 have gone to a decision, and the 3 that ended in a finish, they all ended in the last 2 minutes of the fight. And then Colby, 7 of his last 9 have gone to a decision. One of those ending in the 5th round. So super durable guys, super tough guys. I like this one to go long. Just a couple parlays before we get out of here. The one from last week coming over to this week. A little future prospects parlay, Gary Rachmanov, and then a pacifist parlay. 7 legs of over 1.5s. Again, I tell you, what could go wrong? That's it. A lot of action. A lot of action to close out the year here.
Yeah. I thought it was an all-main card, but those are some prelims in there.
Oh yeah,
with the
no,
7
it's,
plus.
there's a lot in there. Please go ahead.
No.
I was gonna say also tune into No Bets Barred. I dare I say our greatest episode ever. We had old Tony Caladiute on there. I mean, absolutely just top notch stuff from start to finish.
10 cent Tony?
Minutes. 10 cent Tony. Went 90 minutes on the card. Dove deep on each fight. And then, like you said, Saturday, tune in. 296 watch party. Can't wait.
Oh yeah, look at that. You got the elf hat and Heck. Oh, Heck's gonna be in Orlando. He told me he's going from Orlando to New York. Huh?
Wow. Dedication, man. Love of the game.
He's gonna be at the Jake Paul fight.
Wow. Hashtag for the love of the game.
Yeah, Saturday morning. Let's light that 7th candle.
Yeah, here we go. Can I get a theme or anything here, Frankie?
Yeah.
Dun, dun,
Happy
dun,
Hanukkah.
dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I'm singing it.
Boom.
There it is. Oh, ba-da.
There we go.
Yeah. Well done.
Got a little
gentlemen.
bacon collar here, man. All show.
No, listen, you look fantastic. I mean, my lighting situation is abhorrent at this point. I've seen the whole sunset in front of me here, and it's just shadows galore. I'm a little bit embarrassed. You both look super lit up.
I'm obviously in the studio. Made the trek in. Made it into the
Rick,
control room.
how many screens you got
You
there?
guys nice
you're
from
looking back
home.
and forth.
I have one big screen. I'm just.
Rick's made 7 Instagram posts since we.
There's a lot going on over
since
here.
We hopped on here.
Oh, because you got
These
the
things
media
don't
day and
happen by
whatnot.
themselves.
All right.
Actually, I haven't even touched that yet.
You're swimming.
I got a
You're
long night
swimming.
ahead.
All right.
I got a long night ahead. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll let you go. It's time for me to go as well. Guys, enjoy 296. I can't wait to talk about it all on Monday. I am off to do some stuff and then go to Orlando. And then I'll be back in the saddle to watch it all on Saturday. And we'll be back for our final week of shows next week, Monday, Wednesday, 2-week break, award show, first week of January. It's going to be a grand old time. For now, though, let us say goodbye. I did all my Cash Apps. Did I not? I thought I did them all. I do want to give a quick shout out. I'd be remiss if I don't give a quick shout out to our good friends over at Cash App. When you set up direct deposit with your Cash App account, you can get your paycheck up to 2 days early. And look, they say time is money. So how much money is that 2 days worth? I'm not an economist, but I'd say it's a lot. Basically, what I'm saying is, if you set up direct deposit on Cash App, you have time to spare and money to spend. That's money. That's Cash App. Download Cash App from the App Store or Google Play Store and set up direct deposit today. Thank you to Cash App. Thank you to DraftKings. It is time. Yeah.
What are you going to be doing before you go to Orlando?
I got some fun things that'll hopefully be coming out in the near future. Stuff that's important to me, near and dear to my heart. Dare I say bucket list stuff, Frank? Yeah.
It's exciting.
Do you think that we overuse the term bucket list as a society?
I don't think we use it enough. Everything should be on the bucket list.
Well, isn't technically a bucket list something that you put together when you are, about to say goodbye?
Oh.
No, it's just something you do before you kick the bucket.
That's what I thought.
I know, but aren't you only technically supposed to...
Who is the police of the bucket list?
You just make it, and then there's things you want to do before you kick the bucket.
If you make an illegal entry on the bucket list, do they come get you?
Has the wish list been overtaken by the bucket list? Should we technically just say wish list?
No. The things you want to do before you die. That's it.
Wish list seems more fantastical.
And there's no world where the bucket list can only be written when you're on the verge of passing away?
No. I think this has all been ruined by that one movie, The Bucket List, about 2 old guys that get cancer or whatever.
Yeah, way to go, movie.
Yeah.
I got a bucket list.
In any, you actually have a physical one?
Yeah. It's written on a bucket.
Wow. You can only write so much. You should fill the bucket with all the items.
Thank you, Dave Lovell. Thank you to Brandon Royval. Thank you to Merab Dvalishvili, Khalil Rountree, Benson Henderson, Anthony Pettis. Back on Monday, same time and place. I'm out of here.